Hello, friends.
Hello, hello.
This is the REL 6 and REL 7 div preview for week 4. Or reviewing week 3, previewing week 4, whichever. I don't care anymore. And this is going to be a match review week, so we're going to take a look at a match from both div 6 and div 7. Generally ones that we sort of pick arbitrarily. Unless people tell us that there's one particular that we should watch. The goal is to look at everybody eventually. That's not necessarily going to be possible, and we will try to. We generally bias ourselves a little bit to matches that are either contentious picks, look interesting, or are like top of the table teams if we don't hear anything otherwise. So this week we are going to be taking a look at Lizards and Orcs in REL 6, which is the Greenskin Brawlers and scaled measures. And then in REL 7 we're going to be taking a look at Salty Chips by Angry and Superfed's Reality Kings.
But first, an announcement.
Okay.
Just look, gotta let it come in.
Oh, I see.
You smell different when you're awake. Happy anniversary to my honey bunches of oats.
Hooray! It's been one whole year. So let's bring ourselves down to small, shall we? Small. And here we are in the REL 6 game. So we've got Not Nilak and Professor Chaos. This is the gross, like, million strength lizard team, right? Or is that a different one?
And the Agi 5 block. This is the one with the billion strength ups.
Although, is he missing his Croxagore in this one?
I believe he is. Yeah. But he has several Croxagores, so he should be fine.
Hello, Angry.
Oh, is he also missing? Well, let's start this back up and see what we have to work with. 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, there is a Croxagore. It just wasn't loaded. I had the exact same thing going on. So yeah, all six Saurus and the Croxagore. No bench for the Lizards.
No. But strength 5, strength 5, strength 5. There's 4 strength 5 lizards.
Yep. Kind of setting up in a fairly standard kind of wing formation. Makes it hard for the Orcs to get in if they want to blitz this game. They can, of course. Movement 6 allows them to do that, but they do have to set up aggressively and roll some GF5.
Apparently we are, Razzlestorm. We saw that. We were debating looking at your game because 4-0, but we weren't sure if it was going to be a crazy blowout or not. It's worth noting it is a weather dome, and the Orcs have picked up a bribe and a babe. That's a high kick, and the catcher, or the thrower, does not be a catcher and fails to catch it.
Yep, he also used kickoff return to get under the ball and then rolled a high kick anyway, which is kind of fun. Hits coming in on the line. I don't like this setup from Not Nilak, for the record. He put very valuable pieces on the LOS. Even Orcs can foul you, and I would have strongly suggested in this case that you put your less valuable pieces.
Oh, I think the idea was 3 strength 5, but it turns out that when you're playing against Orcs, they have strength 4 and guards, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. If it was against
it doesn't really make it harder.
If it was against like humans, it would probably be fine because they're just not going to block you. But against Orcs or like Elves or something, but when they have strength 4.
Ooh, injury on Drome.
That's a rough start. I mean, that's already going.
Ooh, I would have apple. Jeez.
Yeah, me too. Already going down to Saurus, especially like a Mighty Blow. Like that's a useful Saurus, right? He's Mighty Blow, tackle, break tackle. I feel like I would.
'Twas the armor 8 that did it. Just saying, he rolled an 8.
I mean, that's true.
On an 8 plus. I guess he would have... No, it wouldn't have broken on armor 9, because that would have been a 10 plus, with 9 plus for the Mighty Blow.
That's a really good start for the Orcs. He's got 3 of the Strength 5 locked up, and he has removed a Saurus. Like, the Saurus removals are massive, especially in bash matchups.
Goes for the, just the guard guy here, and not the... I guess he's going to block off the plus strength 1 with this...
Yeah, potentially.
But that's only a 1 die currently. So yeah, this makes it a 2. Oh no, it doesn't, because there's an Orc there. He has to bring in another skink onto this.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of commitment.
It is. And if you happen to fail that block, it's really bad, but it's not really likely to fail. Even a...
No, you'd have to dump spell it.
He finds the POW.
This guy is block.
Even a push would have been okay, because worst case you're only really exposing your diving tackle skink and not the badgy one. But we instantly stand up and blitz the skink. Thankfully this is tackle, so we're getting some no skink attrition though, with the mighty blow tackle not doing the thing that it wants to do there. But as orcs, you take that. You take the
oh, and then the orc goes for a GFI and flies to the sky.
Because orcs.
Rerolled and fine.
Orcs.
Getting that guard in a nice juicy position. This is a wall of meat going on here.
Yeah, a big wall of meat. Blockless, Saurus.
Yeah, plus strength takes a while to level up. Doesn't make you better at standing up, not getting knocked down, getting knocked down. Orcs are not making any forward progress. They're pretty happy, I think, to just punch it out here for a bit.
Yeah, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna outguard the Saurus a little bit. Although the strength is gonna be annoying
really,
eventually.
Though they didn't block this line down again, so the lizards are gonna get some hits here.
Here comes
Block,
the Crocs.
Croxagore coming in swinging.
Bonk.
Doesn't elect to hit a guard piece. I think I would have hit the guard here. The guard is the more valuable target than the random black orcs.
Yeah, certainly. And they're both block. It's not like one of them was missing block or anything, so you might as well hit the one with more skills, regardless of what the skill is, really.
Exactly. Incoming with a cheeky skink blitz on a blodge stand firm player.
I mean, it's a 2+. He's not going to dodge out afterwards?
He's not going to dodge out? What?
Well, that's, I mean, okay, so there's a guard Saurus next to him, means that it's going to be not incredibly easy to make that like a 2-die, but he has a...
I guess, but there's no... to keep him there. He's not doing anything, right?
No.
So this has left the right-hand side of the field a little open if the orcs do want to advance this way.
I think the idea, or the point there, I guess, is that it's not easy for that orc to get a block on that skink regardless, but you might as well have not. Like, there's no reason to leave him there.
Sure. So this is going to allow the lizards to fairly easily... as long as they can knock off this stand firm player. Ooh, goes for a blitz on the other skink.
Anytime you can target a skink, it's probably worth it. Although you're targeting a skink without mighty blow or tackle or anything, so it's not really crazy in terms of like chances of skink removal. And now the Black Orc versus Saurus off begins.
Yep. Ooh, would not have followed that. I know getting in the ball is fun and all, but you're just giving away a 2-die here. This doesn't do anything. Standing in the way does a lot more, I think.
The KO is nice, though. We've evened up the playing field in terms of player
I also think
counts.
I would have freed up this Strength 5 piece. You're now committing all of your players to the middle of the field. You could have freed up some of these... you could have freed up... sorry, the armor break animations keep ruining my day.
Yeah, I understand.
Ooh, goes for a Saurus.
Probably the break tackle one?
Break tackle, yeah. He rolled a 1.
Yeah, well, you kind of need to, because as of now, he had, like you said, it was an easy 2-die on Clawguard Tiny Arms, and then the whole right side of the pitch was free, guarded by nothing but skinks, where all the rest of the Saurus are tied up by Black Orcs. The Orcs would have just gone forward, like, without any
Yeah, I
issue.
think he could have freed up both the... Or no, I guess the brick tackle one is the one that would have made this block. This is fine. This is still gets an easy 2-die from the Strength 4, which is always handy. Gonna have to commit the ball to make this a 2.
Goes around the long way.
Yeah, because he's made a wall of wall of orcs, I should say.
Bonk.
Piling on here would be greedy. I would not recommend it.
Yeah, and does not. So just trying to doing a good job of keeping all the crazy strength pieces sort of tied up on your Black Orcs, and then attempting to make progress using the blitzers to push people out of the way. The strength 4 being really useful here because it makes it a lot easier to push the Saurus around with the blitzers.
The blodger is a skull, and he does eat it, as he has already re-rolled this turn. So I would have probably kept that. The blodge firm guy is doing his job, tying up, quote-unquote, 2 skinks.
Yeah, the skinks would just leave. I mean...
Yeah, but it's still forcing a 1 in 9 risk, right?
Yeah, that's true. I'd probably...
that could have been a blitz on the ball, and I'm not sure why it wasn't. Like, this player that just moved in to assist this blitz could have easily just blitzed the ball. I know you're fishing for... you're POW fishing... Oh, I guess it would have been a 1-die.
It would have been a 1-die, because the guard Black Orc.
Yeah. But you could have blocked it off with the Crocs, who is block pro, so it's not like it's a risky block.
It's also next to guard, so it also would have been a 1-die.
Also, it would have blocked the place he wanted to.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have blocked. He would have needed a knockdown though.
Yeah, it was a long line of risky 1-dies in order to make that work. It's probably I think it's probably better to just try to get more people in
It
the
is
way.
worth noting, he would be way happier if this was a block guard Kroxigor than a block pro one.
Man, it's worth noting, man. So I have the skills on like just leveled up skills, and there's still so many of them. It's really annoying to see what's going on because all these players are so close.
Especially because the replay speed is so high.
Yeah.
So this is looking decent for the Orcs. They can clear this up fairly easily. Ooh, that was a 1-die. I don't know if that needed to be a 1-die. I guess he is a little based up.
Well, there's another reroll. So that's all the rerolls gone for Professor Chaos.
But the Lizards are cut off from most of their strength. That's 3 players up north that are completely isolated. And these are all the players without break tackle. This is kind of why I wanted to free up the strength 5 leader one. He's immobile, and so freeing him up naturally makes it a lot easier for you to break tackle on a future turn. Goes for another 1-die. That's spicy. Blockless lineman gets away with it and gets the knockdown even.
Yeah, not making any progress here, which is not terrible, I guess, because so many of the Saurus are tied up, but you are giving them a chance to try to come back into this.
Goes POW hunting on a 1-9 risk as a first block. Don't love it. Gets another player probably on the ball here. Playing really safe with the Skinks. I don't like this. He should be making them more active. They're not doing anything down here. You're just being a bit pixel huggy with
You know, you're just currently playing like 6 versus 11, right?
Yeah,
7
much.
versus
I mean,
11.
like you have quite the 6 players, but it's not enough to like. I don't like this. He just gave the Orcs a free player. Now that Black Orc is free completely, with no one blocking him, and he's not in anyone, he can just walk around and assist.
Yeah, and there's a Black Orc on the floor with guard, who all he has to do is stand up, and he's an assist
He's
on.
now just pushed a guard piece onto 3 of his players. You really got to be careful when you're pushing around guard pieces.
I just would have not made that block.
Ooh, that was a dub skull and immediately ate it. Wow.
Oh dear, you're slightly ahead, but not very much. But that was really honestly, the Lizards got bailed out a little bit there. Like they pushed people into kind of bad spots, and then the immediate double skull. Was super unfortunate for the Orcs.
Now Lodge is doing a thing. This thrower is not going down.
Chain push Orama. This is weird with so much strength and guard. Like you'd expect none of these to be 2-dies because there's so many like players around, but with all this strength 5 and guard lying around, it turns out you sort of ignore every other player.
Jeez, and Pro not doing a thing to save the Crocs from the bonehead.
But we get like our 4th block that doesn't do anything.
That is the eighth set of the 8th dice rather thrown at this blodger, and he is not going.
Look, it's a cage, but made from your opponent's players.
Yeah. So the Orcs, the Lizards got bailed out by the Orcs rolling poorly, and then the Orcs got bailed out by the Lizards failing to find a POW on 8 dice.
Yeah, the thrower is still a little stuck. Well, if you can manage to that Saurus is bonehead, so if you can knock down that 1 strength 5 Saurus without guard, you could just 3+ rerollable dodge him out. Yes. If you really wanted to.
You could also just chain push and punch everything to the ground. He has pushed the guy almost free, though in the wrong direction, it must be noted, and he does only have 2 turns.
And we still need to remove this Saurus to get him going forward.
He got it there.
Okay, so that frees up both the ball carrier and the Blodge firm blitzer, who can potentially be a scoring threat.
He does have to make it through the Skinks currently, and the blitz has been used. So he can run around a little bit here, but he's not going to be very safe.
No, but
from a skink blitz.
He does have the blitzer scoring threat, and you don't have the reroll for the catch portion, but the pass has a built-in reroll if you decide to do that. Oh, that was scary doing GFIs without any rerolls built in. Hello, my Nemo. Bro failing.
Okay, so what do you do if you're the Lizards here?
All your Saurus are kind of stuck, unfortunately.
You can get the Strength 5 break tackle one free, I think. Yeah, he's in blitzing range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he's not.
Yeah, you can.
You'd have to do a dodge, like a. Oh, you'd have to.
1, 2.
Yeah, if you knock that guy down, yeah,
You knock the black orc down, and then you blitz with the break tackle guy, and you have the skinks as assists, like you did.
What? Nope, he goes in with the skink.
You could just use the break tackle guy, but okay.
He could have. Oh, finds a pal though, so
Okay.
rewarded.
I guess this works.
Got to be careful though. This is totally a scoring threat. Okay, gets diving tackle onto the ball. Here comes the break tackle. Nope, not the break tackle. I would not have made that block.
Bonehead again.
Ooh, pro doing a thing, but then it's a 1 and 9.
Man, block pro croc score is
block
so
and
good.
pro all doing a thing in one turn.
It's so good.
So now we have a pretty easy to score here. So this blitz clears the ball and clears a path.
Yep. So we have
Now it's a 3+ with a reroll into a 3+.
Yep.
What? Oh, he's gonna do the orc pass.
Yep.
Oh, because he's got no reroll. So the sure hands.
The sure hands and the built-in reroll for the pass.
Yeah, but it's a 4+ pass, isn't it? Makes it though.
It's a 3+ rerollable, 4+ rerollable, 3+ rather than a 3+ not rerollable and GFIs, because he would have had to pick up the ball and then run down there. I'm not going to bother figuring out which one is better right now, but either one is fine, and that one also gives your thrower an SPP.
But this is definitely being punished for not break tackling out. Like that was really insufficient coverage for the ball. So.
Yeah, you could have had another player down there. Like, yeah, you would have had to roll 1 extra dice to do that in the dodge, but it was a 2+ dodge. So
and he's got 2 rerolls.
And you had a reroll, so yeah, exactly. I feel like I would have done the break tackle, because if doing what you did made it, not terribly difficult for the orcs to score. And so if you fail the break tackle by snake eyesing or whatever, they're going to score anyway. But the only way to really make it hard for them is to get that Saurus down there. So I think I would have risked it. It's not even much of a risk. It's just in the absolute worst case, if it does go terribly wrong, what are they going to do? Score? They're going to do that anyway.
So this is an interesting anti-1 turn setup.
There is the movement skink. So
lizards can always 1 turn.
It's slightly more annoying than like some other speedy races, because stunty is a thing. Well, it's slightly more annoying and slightly less annoying.
Yeah, the handoff ends up being one of the harder things. So this is actually wrong. If you're going to do something like this, you want your guard in the back so that it's providing assists. You want some guard in the back at least, because right now you can put a player in front of this black orc, Gorefang, Eat Spleen, and then you cut off the assist and you can make this a 2-die. Also, lizards are strength 5, so like you're not going to make this much harder than...
The big thing is that he's got players like physically blocking the blitz to the players in the middle, and the one that isn't physically blocked is stand firm. So like
you can blitz the you can eat Ash Asgag Smash Throat into the line by blitzing up. That said, it doesn't look like he's setting up for the 1 turn. Yeah, that is not a 1 turn. That's just I'm a hit stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not the most efficient 1 turn defense ever, but it's good enough that it's annoying to 1 turn. Like I don't see an easy way to do it.
Again, you probably want to be blitzing down the line, or blocking down the line, I should.
Doesn't matter when you knock stuff over.
It doesn't. You did have to reroll, but that's the other reason I would have appoed this guy. This is your only tackle piece, and you're facing orcs with 2 blodge.
And we saw maybe that tackle probably would have been useful somewhere in those 8 dice.
All of them rolled defender stumbles, so yes. Are we gonna see a foul? You're already down a player.
Do you have a bench?
But it is the blodge firm one. The orcs do not have a bench, and neither do the lizards.
Foul with the movement guy.
No. It's not the worst foul in the world, but it is a little potentially risky. I think I'd take it.
Yeah. It's a guard piece, which is a big deal, and it's a dodge
already
piece.
Down players is the bigger problem. Wow, did not make the 5+.
I was gonna say I'd do it because it's one of the only dodge pieces, and you don't have tackle anymore, so it's probably worth trying to get rid of the dodge when you can.
Yeah, Agi 5 rolls 1s. That's the deal.
It happens.
All the time. So we're at halftime. Lizards are down 1. Orcs are down none.
Did their KO come back because you're ahead and skipping animations, like as usual?
Not skipping it.
KO just came back now. for me.
Okay, I will pause for a handful of seconds.
Yes. They're running backing onto the field currently. Now they are beginning setup. So we're going to go into the Lizard Drive. The Orcs are not too displeased right now. They have their touchdown. They're up a player.
It was pretty much ideal from the Orc standpoint.
Yeah.
The Orcs got unlucky, followed by significantly lucky, which did help them out.
Yeah.
I think it kind of balanced out, all things considered. I think not Nyla could have made this a bit tougher for the Orcs.
The problem is it's going to be fairly difficult for the Orcs to stop an Agi5 block sidestep skink from scoring.
Yeah, you don't try to stop, you try to force.
Yeah.
I think. Like, you can maybe cause a turnover, and you don't, like, rule that out.
Yeah, if you get a good 2-die, whatever, take it. But for the most part, your goal here is trying to make the Lizards feel like they need to score on, like, turn 3.
Yeah. Don't love this from the Lizards. Really focused in the middle here is really weak to a blow.
That's quite a kick.
It's a short kick and a perfect D. What could go wrong? Oh, Orcs do not elect to change their defensive lineup, but it is a touchback.
I mean, there's always something you can do.
Yeah, there's always something. I would have moved some of this away from the Mighty Blow.
You can, even if you just switch the players around so that they're not next to the guard ones or whatever, like, you're not going to not get hit, but you can make it slightly more annoying, or at least they can't, like, block down the line. Not that the Lizards are doing it anyway.
Yeah, that could have been a 3-die on the Blitzer real easily.
And that is a stun. Bonehead again, but Pro works.
Oh,
man,
Pro
Pro and block, like, as your first 2 skills is ridiculous.
It's not what I would do. I would have gone tackle. Or I actually no, I would have gone blodge. Who am I kidding?
Yeah. I would also, like, man, if I could get a blodge Beast of Nurgle, how annoying would that be?
I mean, knowing yours, it would get niggled by a random lineup.
That's true.
On a 1-die pow.
Yep.
This is a little ambitious from Lock-Yalt. There's no reason to give him a free skink blitz here, and, like, this isn't a credible scoring threat, and you wouldn't want to score now even if you could. I don't love this.
And it's like, here, have a free Mighty Blow piling on that can't get punished against a player when I'm already down players.
Yep.
Although
not punished in the slightest.
1, 1, 2, 3 were the dice rolls there.
It's sweet revenge for the 5+ failed foul, I guess.
Fair enough. If you add all of those dice together, they don't break armor. From both the piling on and the initial roll.
Superfed saying the wrestle grab lineman is a response to more than half the teams in my division. Sideline caging with sidestep in their past game.
We did talk about that last week, wondering what the grab wrestle was for. So there you go, that explains it. But this week we're not doing team reviews in depth because we did that last week. We're going to be watching your game after this one, though.
We are indeed. I don't love bringing a Black Orc back to cover one skink. The skink is down, so he can't score.
Although he just won in 9, so...
it did force the 1 in 9. I was about to say, the skink has an easy dodge out, but I'm fucking wrong, clearly. But it does leave your movement 4 player kind of out of the action a bit. I guess not.
It doesn't matter anymore.
No, it doesn't matter.
It turns out. Now we can get all these Black Orcs involved, like, right up against this cage. And, like, yeah, it's a little annoying against Lizards, especially since they all have Strength 5. But there's enough guard going on here, and one of the Lizards is gone. So it might be worth just being like, here you go, have some Black Orcs.
I think there might have
Especially
been
if the Orc thrower can just break armor without problems.
Casual-like.
All casual-like.
I mean, it's gonna happen sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's just a stun.
I will say the Orcs are getting a bit lucky on their armor dice so far, I think, given that they have sustained no damage from quite a few Mighty Blows. Ooh,
Retweet.
no armor break and a send-off.
Goodbye.
DP.
There's a bribe, though.
But it was a bribe, and it was accepted. Rolled a 2 on a 2+.
So there's just like a wall of Orcs in the way, but it turns out Strength 5 and Guard make it pretty easy to move stuff around. So we'll
he
see.
doesn't have a good tool for dealing with the
Lodge pieces.
firm guy, yeah.
Because he didn't Apo his badly hurt Tacklesaurus on like turn 1, which I really think you should have. Jump.
I would have followed that. The Crocs kind of needs to get more involved here.
But yeah, like we flooded the cage, but it didn't really accomplish a ton, and you know the lizards are getting free blocks out of it.
What are we doing here?
I don't know.
Throwing some GFIs.
A lot of GFIs.
Looks like we're gonna screen off potentially and move up into this left-hand side
And
away from the.
are we giving the ball to the
No, it looks
catch
like
player?
we're just.
Just setting up a scoring threat with the catch player.
This skink is not a done.
What a useless skink.
Don't love the reroll on that.
You
don't love basing him either.
Yeah, the reroll didn't really accomplish anything there. 5, 6, 7, 8. Not like that. That blitzer. Yeah, sure. You could have blitzed one of the screening skinks, I guess. But it doesn't really. Then you just don't go that way as the lizards, right?
You also don't want to be scoring this early.
No.
Ooh, another injury coming in on yellow this time.
That was one of the armor 8 ones, right? No, that was the niggled one. Or am I misremembering my source?
No, I think you're right. I'm trying to check. It is indeed the niggled one. Was not the niggle what done it.
No.
Rolled an 11 for injury.
So we got we have the tackle piece in the way now, making it slightly more annoying. It's like, you know, the lizards.
There is not a break tackle piece on this side. Not that you want to score this early.
I mean, they certainly don't, but they have set themselves up to do so, and they've committed themselves pretty far on this one side to the point where, you know, they're going to lose some ground.
It's a reroll trying to get a knockdown with a 1 in 9 risk. That could have backfired real hard.
Yeah, they're committing a lot of players to this side too, so it's going to be more difficult to kind of reposition. Like, to be fair, most of his Saurus are still central, and it turns out it's very easy to reposition skinks. So it's not like...
Is he trying to score here? This is insane.
Aggressive at the best.
And he 1 in 9s.
Although, that was not through tackle, but...
No, that was just another 1 in 9. I think he was going to try the diagonal run, which I think was possible with some GFI.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. Did he have sprint? Because if not, he was 1 out.
He has movement.
Oh, he had movement. Yeah. So he could have.
And he has movement up and sure.
So he could have.
Movement 9.
It was just the 1 in 9. That's maybe not as crazy as you think, because everything apart about that is rerollable. I just still don't like scoring that early.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even 1 more turn is probably good because orcs are slow, right? Like, giving them 4 turns is not as scary as you think. So I would have liked 1 more turn if you could before going for that, but because he committed so hard over here, he might have felt pressured to get it done now.
And because he was taking attrition,
yeah.
Which again, he's not appling, so he's... Well, I mean, at this point, it's not as important to appo the badly hurts, but the appo... The lack of appo in the first part means that he's dealing with like 4 real players.
Yeah, the orcs have got the ball now, so all they really have to do is protect it with like a million black orcs and stuff, and if they really need to, on like turn 15, hurl it to the other end of the pitch, and then they win.
Yep, and Blodgefirm is doing a thing. Not a real credible threat to this ball right now.
Nope.
Strength 5 coming in to maybe threaten something, but...
I mean, we can mark the ball with Strength 5, but eh.
IG5 is going to give an assist to this guy.
It's a 2-die, and we send him down.
Orcs are very sturdy today, it must be said. Did not stand up Lock Yalt, which I think was a mistake. You need to tie up you kind of are in desperation mode now, and you need to tie up as many resources as you can.
He didn't make the mistake of putting the black orc in one of the 2 squares where the guard would have been useful, though, so that was nice.
I did notice that.
So there goes the Strength 5. And now we just,
there goes the thrower.
You do whatever you want to try to, or whatever you can, whatever you want to try to make the ball safe. And right now that looks like it's going to be getting further away from your own line and then putting black orcs in the way of the opponent's players. And we, with a GFI, we can even full cage here, and I think that's what we're doing. Yep.
Not that you need to.
No, you don't particularly need to, but it is safe.
Lizards are not really a credible threat like skinks are not a credible threat to the back end of a blodge.
No.
A cage with a blodge ball carrier, I should say.
Stand firm.
Skinks running away. That's not a scoring threat. I mean, it is, but it's not where you'd want to pull.
It's the blodge firm blitzer tying up a Saurus and a Kroxigor when the lizards are already down to Saurus is incredible value.
Yeah. It turns out that blodge firm guy has done.
Turns out blodge firm is really good. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have? I mean, I don't know. Whenever I had blodge firm, they just rolled pals.
I'm so close to getting. I'm literally 1 SPP from blodge firm guard on my one of my Nurgle warriors.
That dodge does save him from a tackle mighty blow piling on hit on his Agi 5 piece. Which...
Yeah. And it's he's got skinks as potential threats, like to stop you from scoring, but the orcs don't even need to score. Like they don't care. You just need to, like, if the orcs just move forward like 4 squares a turn and keep themselves super safe, like they just win. They don't really even need to score. I mean, they want to have the option for more SPP, obviously, but they're under 0 pressure to try and.
Yeah, they're actually probably looking to hand off if they can to Gorfang Eat Spleen, as that would level him, and leveling Black Orcs is pretty clutch,
yeah.
Some might say.
Especially when you can pick up another guard or a stand firm, maybe. Yeah, so I just move
Fox
forward.
Continues to fail to find a pal.
Stand firm, being annoying, bonk.
It must be said, not Nihilux blocking dice are absolutely atrocious.
I mean, yes, but there are also things that we think he probably could have. I think the biggest mistake, honestly, is not appoing the badly hurt Saurus.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you have seen how annoying dodge has been this game. If there was a tackle somewhere.
Are we gonna 1-die? Oh, we 1-dying.
Oh, yeah.
That's a skull. There's your last reroll gone. Finds a pal, though.
Yeah, you're ahead by like 2 seconds again.
And finds an injury.
Finds the POW, and yeah, armor breaks into an injury. I mean, depending what the injury is, you might as well just appo this.
He did not. I think sensibly, he doesn't need to appo it.
Like I said, depends on what it is. Yeah, badly hurt. It doesn't matter.
That is the last reroll for the lizards, and doesn't really help him get the ball back. You know?
Nope. I mean, you can take a 3-die on the skink, but you don't even need to. You can just go forward.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need a real cage to protect yourself. And what's he gonna do? Red die, double power?
No, try to put the Black Orc in scoring range if you can, so that you can hand off and score with him.
I think he's given up on scoring with Gorfang Eat Spleen.
Yeah.
Simply because he tried to level him on the cast there instead. Plus, I think he would have needed GFI.
He would have, but you might as well roll them. Like, what's gonna go wrong at this point?
I mean, armor rolls.
Oh no.
Huh. Elects not to make this a 2-die, to instead chase down a skink. Yeah, and is punished.
Bonk.
Does not get the knockdown on hand ground.
Let's say you didn't need to reroll that, but then again you have 3 rerolls, so there's no reason not to, I suppose.
For sure.
Just my first instinct was, why reroll that? But that's because I hate using rerolls.
The number of times I've watched you not reroll things on, like, on turn...
like 15? Wow. Yeah.
This is like the 15th, 16th dice this blotch from guy is eating.
Yep, he's being incredibly annoying. Run away the skink. Alright, so we're gonna score on somebody here for the orcs. I mean, you could hand off to the Black Orc and pray.
I think that's what he's gonna do.
Probably. Does the line orc need it? No, the thrower doesn't care. And he's gonna get SPP anyway, so you hand off to the Black Orc and hope.
Oh yeah, you absolutely do not score on the thrower here.
I mean, you can. Like, it's not wrong, but it's not, like, you might as... You're not gonna lose, you might as well just try to level a Black Orc.
Lodge, kickoff return, he's got everything you could possibly need.
Fend, or plus Agi.
Yes, well. Wow, throwing GFIs to mark up... Oh, because he wants to make this a 3-die.
Yeah, the game is over. He doesn't matter if he fails these things. He's just trying to get whatever he can for SPP, especially on Gorfag.
I might have taken the guaranteed... Yes, well... Oh, goes for the catch. Fails it. Reroll.
75%.
Gets it. Will we get a tripwire? We will, because I saw the scorecard.
Bonk. I forgot what the scorecard was, though, so you spoiled that a little bit for me.
The It's 1-0.
Yep.
I mean, I said it as it happened on my screen. I wasn't trying to spoil it.
The skink that failed a bunch of 1 and 9s leveled with the MVP.
64 blocks and 6 armor breaks. Tells the story of the Lizard game.
Yeah, I think so.
Lizards actually had really outstanding armor at 84%.
Their D6 were fucking
Orcs,
garbage.
The Orcs had 86% armor, which certainly helps beat Lizards when you're...
Yeah, I mean, there were certainly a few things that the Lizards could have done better, but there's always something that anybody can do better whenever they play Blood Bowl. And, you know, the armor dice did not help them there, and the block dice weren't amazing for them either. They needed, like, this doesn't really tell the story, because, you know, the block dice look relatively even, but if you, like, look at the end here, look at how many, like, blocks were on that one dude, where he just never went anywhere. I don't remember his name, but there was, like, 9 or 10 dice or something like that on that one Black Orc, or that one Blitzer who was tying up a Saurus and a Kroxigor by himself.
Yeah, so really not appling that, like, felt a little pixel huggy, and
yeah, I agree.
Resulted, I think, rather directly in you losing the game. It's hard to predict that sort of thing.
It is.
And, like, if you look at the block dice, they look totally average. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Almost perfect, like, reasonably average in terms of, like, they're all around 22 and then 44 for pushes.
But all those pals came on, like, Black Orcs and stuff, and all of those stumbles happened to come on the Thrower and the Blodge Firm Blitzer.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they didn't... if that was... Instead of block dice, if that was knockdowns, you'd see, like, sort of a different story.
The Orcs blocking dice are really weird. They rolled 21 skulls, 9 both downs, 25 pushes, 24 defender stumbles, and 8 pounds.
It is kind of weird.
But they got the knockdowns.
I don't blame him for, like, not appoing, because it was, like, turn 2, and there's so many, like, Mighty Blow on the Orc team, you're kind of scared of losing your Agi 5 skink, but that's pixel
hugging. Yeah, that's just you're Lizards. You can't lose a source on turn 2 and not appo it. You lose the game, like, 100% of the time. Lizards struggle already against Orcs because Orcs have a natural strength advantage against Lizards. Not, like, strictly speaking on the pitch, but in terms of, like, guard generally and strength access players, they usually equally muscle or slightly out muscle Lizards. And if you go down players that early, the Orcs are just going to beat the living hell out of you. Like, there's just no way around it.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's probably what he was thinking, though. I was like, you know, I really want to have that Agi 5 skink available, and he's in danger. But, you know, that's the pixel huggy way of thinking of it, rather than the, like, I want to win this game now way of thinking it. But to be fair, like, pixel hugging isn't necessarily wrong. Like, in a strict sense, if you want to win every game, it's wrong, I guess. But it's not necessarily wrong when you're in an Eternal League and you're in, like, the 3rd game of the season. Right? Like, you don't know whether you're a playoff contender yet. You don't really know if you have to win every game. You might want to just see if you can hold on to your, you know, good player in case you become a contender or for next season or whatever. Right? Like, this early, I don't think it's wrong to pixel hug.
My head for cowardice.
I mean, like, so there's 2 ways of looking at it, I guess. And one is you want to play every game to win 100% of the time, but not everybody is like that. Some people will, you know, not care as much about early season games or whatever, right?
Yeah, like, I don't think you should always do. I don't think you should always discount completely the concern of, like, keeping your players alive. If it's turn 16 and I'm tied, and the guy has, like, his only scoring threat is like within easy scoring distance, and my only blitz is, like, you know, a red die on the ball with my best player, probably not going to take it. Like, the odds of me succeeding that versus the odds of it, like, killing the player are so stacked in the negative way that, like, I have no real incentive to do it, unless the game is incredibly important.
Yeah, and I'm saying that some people will treat every game like it's incredibly important, and some people will treat the early games in a season as if, you know, whatever, and then once they get halfway through, they'll decide, okay, I have a playoff shot, and then they'll treat every game as if they have to win 100% no matter what. Or they'll get to halfway through the season and they'll be like, I don't have a shot, I'll just play more pixel huggy. Right? Like, and some people play for next season, right? And that's fine in an Eternal League, right? It just depends on what your goal for the game is. But it's not, you cannot argue that not appoing, or you cannot argue that if you were trying to win the game, appoing the Saurus there was the correct choice to try to win the game. But if your goal wasn't, I must win the game at all costs, then that's fine, right? Like, it just depends on what your goal is there. Anyway, shall we, I have us up at the dual title screen so that we're not spoiling things. You want to go to the second game? I'm paused at setup.
I'm just loading it up. I'm loading it up now. I will pause it setup when I get to
I will put us back into the game now that the scoreline isn't on screen, so we won't spoil anything for anybody who didn't watch this. I hope our like weird argument about that could be like a reasonable podcast topic if they want, talking about people being at certain points. I think
I just like don't agree. Like, I mean, I take reasonable precautions to like prevent my team from dying, but I play games to win them usually. Like, if I had a hopeless season,
yeah, but that's because you're a massive tryhard and not everybody is.
Yeah, because like, what's the point?
What's
the point of just having a team and not playing with them?
My first season as Nurgle in REL, I did not give a shit if I won my first like half.
Yeah, but this is game 3, and you're playing a competitive team.
I went to like game 5 before I realized I had a shot and actually started trying to win things more often, because I figured, you know, they're Nurgle, they're not a great team right now. I just want to try to get some SPP on some players, and I don't have a chance of winning. So I would have played, if I had an Appo, if I was allowed to have one, I would have played more Pixel Huggy. Right? Like, it's not wrong to play Pixel Huggy if that's what your goal is. People play the games for different reasons. People have different goals.
Boo. Boo, I say. Want to get going?
Yep. 3, 2, 1, go. So we have Superfed's Kislev, the Reality Kings, and we have Angray's Dark Elves, the Salty Chips. Some gross players on both sides, like, you know, Captain Stabbin turns out is pretty good. Then there's that Agi 6 Dark Elf that I'm excited to do some nonsense. Also loners on both sides, despite being pretty high TV teams, because, you know, the other players are really good. Superfed has a Babe, and that's basically the only inducement we see here. And it looks like Superfed is on defense first with the Kislev. No bench for either side because of those loners.
Interestingly, the Salty Chips chose to receive. I would say elves traditionally tend to try to defend first, especially dark elves, because they are so strong on defense. It is unusual to see them elect voluntarily to go on the offense.
Yeah, and you know, if they had more, if they happened to be the type of dark elves that had, like, you know, Mighty Blow Witches and stuff, or Mighty Blow Blitzers or whatever, you might be a little more inclined to do that, because, you know, there are some armor 7, armor 8. You know, Kislev is armor 7, armor 8, right? So the Mighty Blow spam could potentially give you a pretty serious advantage if you take good advantage of your line blocks on offense, but that's not the case here, so.
Superfed elects to kick pretty deep. Ooh, really good kick right along the sideline. Difficult for the low movement Dark Elves to deal with.
Not particularly. It's not particularly scary, though, because it's going to require a 1 in 36, and when the ball has a 3/8 chance of scattering out, you probably are going to commit a reroll to making sure you pick it up.
For sure. But it's like any risk you can put on, and you also are forcing the Dark Elves to kind of collapse into a particular area, because the Kislev are fast, and, you know, they're arguably faster than you in a lot of ways, or at least as fast as you.
They have what the Blitzers are movement 7 and the Catchers are movement 7, right? So they have
though Kislev do not have any catch. They have 1 catcher for this game. So that was kind of one of the reasons we thought it might be a little less.
Yeah, because only 1 catcher available. There's still 5 movement 7 players for the Kislev, and there should be 5 for the 6 for the Dark Elves, because they have 2 witches.
Unless they're missing a blitzer.
I'm bad at player models.
I see.
I think there's 3 blitzers at least.
3 blitzers.
Yeah, I think there's 3 blitzers. Yeah, Alex not to pick up.
The blitzers do not stand up tall, so that's one way of picking them out.
I'm really bad at player models. Most of the time when I play on my own, I play with like all skills enabled, just so I can see what the players are.
No, Superfed immediately committing a reroll to a hit on a Blodge blitzer with.
Well, he's gonna. That's his, piling on Mighty Blow tackle player. He's gonna want to try to get that attrition rolling.
He was also trying to open up a hole, I think, so that he could just walk.
And with 4 rerolls, you can afford to like immediately greed one. Like that's fine. I don't disagree with that.
Angry has left himself a little exposed here. Like, he only sent one person after the ball. Had that been a knockdown from the blodge player, he could have seen his ball a little swarmed. There's not a lot of support for this kick lineman right now.
Nope, but he didn't try to pick up that turn, so he's got his full 6 movement basically to get the ball and get it somewhere else. He's also Agi 5, and his whole team is Agi 4. It's going to be pretty easy for him to get the ball wherever on the pitch he wants this turn, through some combination of handoffs or passes or whatever.
You can outrun the Kislev, I guess.
No, but like, yes, you can outrun the Kislev, but I'm saying he can put the ball wherever he wants on the pitch. He's not worried about the Kislev swarming the ball anymore. Weird animation bug again, right? Yeah, see, now the ball's over here, and you just, you can screen off from the Kislev a little bit.
You can't screen off from Kislev, though.
I mean,
that's the point,
well,
right?
well, not screen. I mean, like the anti-leap cage sort of idea, where it's like a weird elongated cage where they can sure leap into it, but then they're still on assists from the people that are 2 squares away from the ball instead of right next to it. It's like weird part screen, part cage.
We do see that to some extent. So there's a 2-die here.
It's a lot of Kislev on one side of the field, but they're fast, so they can bring it back pretty easily.
They can indeed.
Here.
So they are getting real involved.
Well, they have more block, they have more guard, they have more mighty blow. Like they're better, quote, I guess, in the sort of bash matchup. They're doing the right. So they're gonna try to get that going. There is only one mighty blow, so like it's not like they're crazy mighty blow spam against armor 8. So the armor 8 should hold pretty well as long as they can keep the mighty blow hits to a minimum. But there's going to be one every turn at least.
Yep, Superfit continuing not to knock down players, at least not with
Captain Stabbin.
Some good hits here, but not finding the pals he needs.
Oh,
could go.
We have both grab and sidestep in this game. Could we see like the weird? Isn't that the case where like the crash bug thing can happen if you have armor break animations turned on and you have both grab and sidestep? That's what happened in the like MyStays Andy Davo game, right?
And then you roll a POW. I think so.
I'm unsure on how that works.
Ooh.
But it's
quick POW coming in on the blodge blitzer or blodge catcher. Results in a KO.
Yeah, that's removing a blodge guard piece and also a catcher who are kind of good. So that's a good start for the Dark Elves here.
Yep. So Dark Elves punching back, showing that just because you have the guard advantage doesn't mean that they can't flex a bit of muscle themselves.
Yep. No, and both teams are armor 8/7 here, so there are weak players you can focus on. One of them being the catcher, and there he goes.
Both teams mostly doing a lot of pushing each other around.
Although this is depends on where he puts those witches, but right now, it's not.
You can make this a difficult lead.
It's
not actually no, because they're going to be able to knock these players off top.
And it's also guard. Like, he can leap in guard and then leap in and not guard.
You got to dodge this one out. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, block dice against guard and diving tackle and stuff. Like, yeah, it's that's. I agree with the plan, that being a reasonable plan.
I haven't been paying attention to diving tackle. I should turn that skill on.
Yeah, the blitzers have it. Who are the like bear hat ones?
Captain Stabbin finally gets a knockdown and immediately gets an injury on the Agi 5K.
Bonk, mighty blow doing a thing. Actually, it didn't. But
that was a 9 into a 10. A halfling. Badly.
Yeah, if you wanted to roll like a billion D dice here, you could have gotten a 2-die on the ball. But I don't think it's a reasonable. I don't know if it's what you want to do right now.
I don't think he's in any rush.
No, because you could have leapt and put a guard piece here, and then like leapt and blitz from this square, and you would have had a 2-die. But I don't think it's worth committing this early.
Rolls a 1 and 9, elects to eat it, which comes in immediately with a block. This is a 1 and 9 frenzy block. Kind of elects not to stand firm, so keeps his blitzer in a somewhat relevant position in the midfield.
Yep.
Makes sense to me.
The annoying thing about the catcher being out is they're the easiest leaps you can make. Everybody else is a 3+, and the catchers are a 2+.
Not actually, no, because they're going to be able to knock these players off.
Yeah, the catchers are a 2+.
That is true.
They're Agi 3, but they're also all very long legs, so they basically are
we going to
Agi
see
4.
a foul coming in on Come Fiesta? The spelling of which makes me a little sad.
Well, yeah, I imagine the correct spelling is a censored word by Cyanide.
I don't think so, because I believe we had an admin issue this season about someone naming their team the Rotting Cum Boys or something like that.
Yeah, but maybe. The Dark Elf lineman foul animation makes me uncomfortable, by the way.
You should explore that feeling.
He just like lifts his leg like way above his head and the camera zooms right in on his bulge. Like it's pretty great. I mean, yeah, that's a blodge guard piece. Like it's pretty valuable. Fouling with with elves is always risky though, because your linemen are so expensive. So I mean, it's a risk, but it's a calculated risk you can take if you want to, especially since he's a valuable player.
Speaking of risks, facing the ball against jump up is what some might call calculate. All right, a bit of a
first
risk,
leap of the game into a not knockdown, but
but it's strip ball, so it is stripping.
So it's good enough.
No, it's not.
Agi 6 is Agi 6. It turns out.
It was a 2+ catch on the bounce back.
It's equivalent to a push. That's funny.
Yep, I can feel Superfed sighing.
Yeah. Just,
Stand firm, doing a thing. This is 2 games in a row where stand firm has been an absolute union.
Stand firm is a great skill.
Not on the second block though.
Off goes the witch to assist on the other block here against the wrestle grabber.
This is going to open a path for the ball to run into space a little bit.
Yep.
Did he need?
He doesn't really need a path though. He's Agi 6. Like tackle zones don't exist.
Nearly snaked that. Nearly doesn't count, of course, but that was a 1 into a 2. That was a casual diving tackle dodge. Just to be clear, we're now keeping track of those.
What is the saying? Like nearly only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Horseshoes and hand grenades. Yes.
I couldn't remember the second part.
Still, real easy 1 die with the strip piece on this. Can you even do it without?
If the Dark Elves score next turn, that's not even really that terrible for Superfed. I mean, he has a pretty easy time. Like he'll have 3 turns to try and make it 1-1 and then go into his drive. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but as long as you prevent your opponent from stalling here, you at least have a good chance. And you know.
Oh, finds a POW. Am I ahead of you again?
By like 1 second. But yeah.
And an armor break. And Agi 6 is KO.
That's a big deal, assuming he doesn't come back. Turns out just a lot of...
Scatter is nice for the Dark Elves, though.
Turns out there's a lot of other, Agi players on an Elf team, them all being Agi 4, but, none of them are Agi 6. And that evens up the player count.
Suddenly this is a bit scary for the Dark Elves.
A lot more scary than it was a turn ago.
Yeah, they do have a pretty easy time clearing off this ball because it's the Witch's strength 4, and then you could technically score on the blodger, and I think that's what you might do here.
But the good news is for Superfed is that he's probably scoring now, rather than stalling, because stalling is super dangerous. Slightly less dangerous now because the wrestle strip guy is down.
Yeah, and I mean he picked up with the Witch Elf, who was out of scoring range, so he had no option to score.
No,
could have scored with the blodge.
I like this. If you blitz with the somebody, and if that happens to be an armor break, you can stall, and if it's not an armor break, then you just use the dodge guy to score. But him being stunned for a turn makes you way safer.
You're a bit safe, but you could still be pretty easily red die wrestle. Okay.
It's way safer than having the strip wrestle.
Diving tackle does something. Oh no, I lied.
Diving tackle not doing a thing. He did have to re-roll it, but yeah.
He did. It was a 2 into a 6. So.
I mean, it's just the dodge skill as a re-roll, but
It was a 4+ dodge.
Yeah, 75%.
And not the first time one has been thrown this game.
There is.
Ooh, Dub Skull as the first action from
That's non-ideal.
It eats the reroll for any potential sack attempt you could try.
Yeah, there is the wrestle grab guy who's a reasonable sack attempt player here.
I think you're gonna elect to flop on the ground pathetically and die.
Yep. If only we didn't double skull and we would have had the reroll. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the sort of greed I absolutely understand. I mean, you're like, I've got one Mighty Blow piling on player, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to hit with him every time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want to be 1,000%, I want to avoid every possible risk, you don't make that block. But 99% of Blood Bowl players would make that block. You use the Mighty Blow against elves.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, it must be said, fails the catch on the rookie, which...
Reroll? Yeah.
Again, 1 and 2 at 2. The elves are
barely
getting this done.
Or she's in hand grenades.
Oh, failed dodge.
Boink. The Kislev have great animations. I'll give them that.
They do. One of the best reasons to play them is the success and fail animations, and also just their idle animations are really.
I really like the bear, but most developed Kislev teams will drop it.
There's no point to it, really.
Well, it's useful early to try and protect people while you get your, like, you know, blitzers leveled up. But once you get some levels in the blitzers, then there's no point in having.
Yeah, it's really useful as a teaching tool as well, actually, because rookies sometimes don't understand why the bear is kind of mediocre, and like you get to kind of show them.
It's really interesting in that way because the bear is just a Kroxigor, and Kroxigors are incredible, but bears are mediocre, even though they're literally the same player.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, it was like same player but different team trying to do different things. Ooh, no luck for the Kislev there. Could not make the.
Nope.
Well, I guess it was a 3+. Was that a 3+3+4+, 1 die? I think so.
Yeah, not incredibly likely to work, but you mean you got to try it. That was a 4+, 3+, 2+, 4+. Or wait, no,
it was a lot. Yes.
Yeah, dodge, leap, going for it. Dodge, going for it. 1 die. Like, there's a lot of dice there, but you got to give it a try, I think.
It's a pretty easy score for the Witch Elf on turn 8. Ideal, really, for the as far as the Dark Elves are concerned. They have eaten a bit of attrition and on their kick player, which is going to be important. Yeah,
this is basically exactly how the Dark Elves wanted this to go, though. I mean, they scored on turn 8. They scored on the right elf, and the only they took 1 casualty, which could have been way worse.
Yep, I mean, the Kislev could still 1 turn. I know Superfed is a big fan of the Kislev one.
If the catcher comes back, it's certainly possible.
Does come back. Catcher does not.
You're ahead again.
I skipped 0 animations.
There's slightly different processing speeds and stuff, probably.
I am paused. Let me know when you get to setup.
Setup is now. The catcher did not come back, so there's no movement 7 for the blitzers are movement 7, but there's no.
There's no movement 8.
Just the catchers aren't movement 8.
Oh, movement 7, right?
But they are they're diving catch, which is slightly better, and they have for like accurate passes if that happens, if that's required, and they also have the 2+ leap over like a line rather than a 3+ leap from a blitzer.
Yeah, AG4 in general.
Yeah. So it's slightly harder, but still possible with the players you have.
It must be said, backfield setups to stop Kislev 1 turns, not your best bet.
No. It's probably better to try to cancel out make the pushes harder.
Yeah.
Although with it's not terrible without the catcher around because they're 3+ leaps.
It just forces a 3+3+.
Yeah, I mean it's.
And this is a pretty like textbook 1 turn. Ooh, blitz ruins.
No, it doesn't really do anything.
Doesn't ruin. No. If you had set up in the kind of. Oh, but a dub skull.
Never mind. Well, the block dice are not helping Superfed here.
I honestly thought he was going to score.
Once again, if you like, when we get to the end of this is something that I've been talking about. I talk about all the time. When we get to the end of this, and we look at the block dice. The block dice will probably look average, right? But it turns out that it's the variance that matters when it comes to this, right? When you get a couple double skulls at critical moments, sure, it's average that you got that many skulls, but those double skulls are what ruined your game, right? So it's the variance of dice that's important. Weird glitch again, but we are setting up with the elves.
Catcher came back.
That's good. I didn't get to see that because my screen
I waited
went
like
black.
30 seconds so that I wouldn't spoil it.
My screen went black and I didn't see any of the animations. I'm not really sure what
It's
occurred
weird.
there.
I'm not getting that, so it's just on your end.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I get the weird animation bug where like it gets stuck zoomed in, and I think it did that.
Well, Dark Elves are going for the patented Davo defense, the lopsided
Yeah,
rule of
a
five.
lot of people do that. It's mostly just so that
I know, I was just kidding.
some people like it, some people hate it. I mean, the reasoning is basically if you happen to get a like perfect defense, you can move off the players that are set up on the line, but experienced players will do this, and they'll just put players everywhere on the line so that if you no matter where you move them, they just get hit anyway.
But it does force an overcommitment to the line.
But who cares? Because they just want to move like it. Oh no,
I
an
mean, elves
overcommitment to the
care.
line.
Elves care if you overcommit to the line because then you can potentially get behind them.
Yeah, but then they can easily just push you around because all the players are in a spot, right?
Sure, but sometimes it's beneficial to have the slow. Oh, goes for the deep piling on the armor 7 launch tackle piece. Does not get rewarded for it. We have not seen grab used yet, and just so you know, Superfed, I'm keeping track. Every time you don't choose to use the grab, it's minus 50 points from Gryffindor. And they want to win that House Cup, friend.
I just want to see grab on sidestep and have my game crash.
You want weird things, Ben.
You do not know me.
I do. I've known you for many, many years.
I only want weird things. Weird things are more fun. I am actively looking forward to the season that my Nurgle team dies so I can play a season of Goblins in REL. Like, I'm looking forward to this. Please, like... Vanity Pass occurs, getting 1 SPP to HD Love, the lineman, and ball's in the hands of the catcher now. And we go over to the Dark Elf side. We can break a pretty serious hole in here, but we're gonna have to use the Blitz to do so. Well, that's a dead lineman. Evening up the player count. You have to use the Blitz to do so, so the ball is still safe, quote, but only for a turn, because we can put Dark Elves wherever we want them to, threatening the ball now. But, you know, Ag4 can pass the ball to one of the Blitzers if they would so like to do so. Two Dark Elves are now on the ball carrier, but this is a 2+ rerollable dodge out for the ball carrier if he likes. But the Dark Elves doing a reasonable job of trying to screen off a bit so that the ball carrier can't just run around. You can't, however, jump over because he is Kislev. We'll see what Superfed elects to do here. I imagine you see how these blocks work out, and then sort of make a plan based on whether you get any knockdowns on that side.
This was certainly very aggressive from Superfed. He's now in a position where he's under quite a bit of pressure early on, but he is maybe going for a quick score here, hoping to turn the Elves over.
Not getting any moves here.
He did a good job here, though, clearing a space for the leap. So now he was able. Is forced to use a reroll on this pass attempt. Gets it on the second go.
This is what I figured would happen. Is he had a pretty easy you know, the elves have to commit really hard there, and then he has a pretty easy way out for that edgy 4 guy. And with the scoring threats available, he could score, or he could have opted to stall or whatever. But
he did not. I don't think he could have stalled. There was a credible blitz threat from a blitzer. That GFI was scary. That was a 2+ with no reroll, but he does make it. So it is 1-1 on turn like 9.
Yep.
I think he 2 turns.
Yep.
So this will be turn 10.
like, it was a really aggressive push forward, but the elves, like, no matter what the elves did, they didn't have a good way to hit the ball. The best they could have done was put a bunch of players on the ball and or screened it off, and then it turns out Agi 4 leap with long legs and dodge is very easy to get out from whatever sort of screen exists.
It wasn't too bad.
No, I think it was fine.
It was a 2 die into a 2+ into a 2+ into a 2+.
And all of that was
3+ as well for the catch.
I think, well, minus the pass and catch. Like, I'm just trying to talk about the move everybody forward, then leave your catcher with the ball like relatively alone. Like, no matter what the elves did there, he was like a 2+2+ away from being safe, right? Whether he decided to score or not, it was very easy for that catcher to get out, which is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. Blitzers don't have anything that influences catches, right?
No, they have diving tackle, but not diving.
Not diving
The
catch.
catchers have diving catch and diving tackle, right?
The catchers do not have diving.
It's just the other way around, yeah. Just they have diving catch, the blitzers have diving tackle.
Short kick from the Kislev, again hoping to turn over the Dark Elves and potentially score. Dark Elves immediately start filtering players up the side here.
You can do it, I can do it too.
Yes, though it must be said, this is the opposite side of where the ball is. So
That's true. And it's a little scarier against Kislev because, you know, they do have...
REL GFI from the Agi 6.
you are ahead.
I won't tell you how the reroll goes.
Failed GFI from the Agi 6. It is then rerolled. But it succeeds this time. Agi 6 can pass wherever he wants, though, is the thing there. Although you do have to be careful. You can't bring the ball up the field too early. If you're going to do it this way, you want to only pass it on the turn that you're going to score with, because it turns out Kislev have leap, strip ball, wrestle, so it's going to be pretty difficult to make a ball carrier safe with just a screen.
True. For instance, this is not even a little safe.
He's out of range of everybody scary.
I mean, you can double GFI, double leap, 2 die.
Yeah, but that's 2 plus 2 plus 2
wrestle.
plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 die. That's a lot.
Yeah, whatever.
And none
ahead.
of that is rerollable.
I mean, none of them has built-in rerolls.
Yes, but you can only reroll one of those things.
Instead, looks like he is going to apply pressure to the Dark Elves and go for a blitz on the good old spicy.
I would not YOLO that hard. I would try to allow. It's worth noting, right? Like, the catcher, the very long legs is a +1 to intercepts as well.
He used grab!
Yay!
Gryffindor stops losing points.
Remember that very long legs is a +1 to intercepts as well.
Ooh, elects to reroll the hit on the Witch Elf from Captain Sabin, gets the knockdown and goes for the pile.
So, yeah, I mean, Mighty Blow piling on a witch, you take that.
Sure, but it does cost him a team move. That said, not rewarded at all, as Superfed has not been rewarded for any of his greed, I don't think, this game. And in response, Milf Hunter, one of his best blitzers, is kicked.
Yeah, the Dark Elves do have to be careful about passing. Like, they can pass, they have that Agi 6, but they have to be careful over passing over the catcher, because Agi 4 long legs is actually surprisingly useful for intercepting.
Yeah, and they have very long legs, ruins the safe pass. Ooh,
Yeah, but they don't have that anywhere.
why wouldn't you have the safe throw skill? It's the best skill.
The only player that ever has that is the High Elf thrower, and that's because he starts with it.
Sometimes you gotta think outside the box, Ben. So the Dark Elves have rather smartly, I believe, elected to switch sides here.
Yep.
They currently outrange the Kislev fairly well. There is a 3+ dodge into a 1 die, but that is onto blodge. So
Yeah.
Unlikely to work out.
As long as you pressure the elves into scoring, you can just 2-turn again, like we saw it happen before, and then we end up, you know, going back and forth. So as long as the elves feel pressured to score, Superfed is probably fine here. But if you get a shot at the ball that's reasonable, you probably take it.
He is going to double GFI to make it a 2-die. And he is going to go in with the lineman. Does fail the first dodge. Gets the second one.
That's the reroll use, though. I mean,
Finds the POW.
I think you're ahead again.
I'm not.
Finds the POW. I think the only way this is worth it is if you do the double GFI. Like trying to roll, like doing a dodge to then roll a 6+ is just not worth. It's not worth the play.
Yeah, and the nice thing about doing the double GFIs to get the garter in place is that you know if you've used the reroll while you're still working on getting elects not to use wrestle on the wrestle grab piece to kind of fish for an armor break and gets a double armor break.
Yeah, it was the last action of the turn, so I understand.
It was on a rookie lineman with his wrestle grab player, so he was certainly had more to lose there, but it worked out for him.
I mean, yeah, but the Dark Elves going down players is more of a big deal for the Dark Elves, like than the Kislev losing a wrestle grab lineman, I think.
I don't know about that.
For this round.
Looks like the Witch Elf is going... not
going to serve.
Not going for a serve. Instead going to clear off the ball with a chain push. This is a little clever. I like this.
It's better for potentially scoring now, so I understand that.
Well, he can't score.
Oh, the scoring soon.
He doesn't like a super long pass to a Witch Elf who is standing in diving tackle.
Scoring soon.
Abusing that Agi 6.
I mean, it's still a 2+ pass.
But then, gets away from diving tackle again. Diving tackle confirmed fake skill.
It has not done anything yet.
Speak of the devil. Diving tackle and tackle combined, taking down the Witch Elf.
Finally doing a thing.
Unfortunately, that player has jump up, so all you've done is move him one space closer to the ball.
There's the jump up.
And this one is Captain Stabin is currently in range of this Blodge player, and yeah, he can bring around a catcher for an assist. So this is going to be a 2-die. That dodge attempt made this some things you like weird edge cases you have to consider sometimes. First hit is not good. Goes for the reroll.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Still not good. This is a bit scary because unless you knock this Agi 6 down, which you sort of do, he's wrestled.
Yeah, well, either way, he can choose to use it or not, but either way, he's on the floor.
Yeah, that actually does put him out of scoring range.
Which is a big deal, right? If he didn't go down, all you'd have to do is hand off to that Agi 6 player, and he doesn't care about tackle zones.
Well, he cares about diving tackle zones sometimes, but yeah.
But there aren't any on the way, are there? Oh, there's one, yeah, the Blitzer.
There are several. There are 3.
There'd only be 2 the way he was going. If you go diagonally, there'd only be 2.
Again, fishes for POW on the stand firm and does not find it. Or not POW, any sort of knockdown.
Stand firm doing stand firmy things.
So this is a real tough place for Speedy Chip number 4.
Yeah, what do you even do right now?
Fail a diving tackle dodge somewhere?
Nope, he made that dodge. So we were going to get a block on the wrestle strip guy. Keeping the wrestle strip away from the play is probably good here. He's a big threat to the ball.
Is he going to go for the dodge? He is, and that's a dodge from tackle, so it is not good enough.
Bonk.
No, Witch Elf got it.
I mean, I think you had to... You're ahead again. Witch Elf got it. I think you had to do that. If he sat there, he was just going to get surfed. So you either needed to pass it or you needed to try to dodge out. And, like... Passing it was unlikely. The dodge was probably slightly more likely. It's surprising that the Witch got that. That's quite a bounce that it managed to end up. Like, it's a very specific sequence of bounces to make it land in the Witch Elf's hands. You have to try something.
For sure. I was eating chips, so I didn't get to respond, but, I mean, I agree. He had to do that.
There's no benefit.
It's just not a good sign when a 5+ with no reroll is your best option.
Yeah, well, you need to have it. It's better than not doing things. And we find the POW on the Witch. Bonk. So where is this ball going? Out. Although it doesn't go very far, and it's not really in the worst position for the elves. Especially since the Kislev can only actually get one player on the ball. Potentially two if this reroll works. It does. And he's got the ball. That makes it much more annoying. If that reroll had failed, that would have been not terrible for the Dark Elves, but the fact that it ended up on the other side of the field, that's bad. That
initiating a foot race for the ball, where the Kislev are the closest.
That very well might be game. If that wasn't, I absolutely think that was the correct play by Superfed. I mean, if that works, the game is over.
I don't know about the. I might have not tried to pick it up. I know that there's an Agi 6 player, but you've got 2 diving tackle on the ball. Like if that 5+ pass had fumbled, which like it very well could have. I mean, I guess it's a 2.
You don't care whether it's accurate or
not. The Witch Elf fails the GFI on the second block with no rerolls and goes down.
It's really like a 3+ pass because you really don't care if it's inaccurate as long as you don't fumble it, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just going through in my head. I just got distracted because the Witch Elf failed the GFI.
No, I think that's the correct play. If it failed, the Dark Elves had a reasonable chance at scoring, but if it worked, the game is basically over. And if you don't do anything, they still have a reasonable chance at scoring. So like you have to go for it.
Yeah, it's also very late in the game, which must be considered. Yep. So this is good. I like that Superfed is tying up as many players as he can, creating a bit of a screen before he runs in with the guard clown to try to pick up. He's going to have to do a 0 reroll pickup on the edge of the field.
And also elects to roll some GFIs on top of that with no rerolls.
Just to make it a harder surf. I don't know about the second one. Getting in a range of.
Doing it so that we getting out of range of the Witch Elf, I think.
I don't think you can get a range of the jump up Witch Elf.
Never mind. Witch Elf is gone.
It is down and out. And smash movement. Oh, but no cast.
Appo works out to keep the.
Sometimes 50k Appos are good purchases.
Maybe you should use them. This overall, I mean, this is an interesting game. Like this is a grind. It could have gone either way, just depending on dice rolls, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, Superfed commented that he wasn't sure the replay would kind of highlight how grueling the match was.
But I mean, you can tell.
Players, yeah, I think we can see that both players really struggled to get shit done this game.
Yeah, and it was certainly interesting, right? Like sometimes 1-1s can or tie games can be or not. Well, it's probably not going to be a tie game, but sometimes like low scoring games amongst Agi teams can potentially be fairly boring. But this was not. It was interesting to watch, certainly.
Okay, it looks like he's going to go for a 3-die here. Understandable.
Yep, I mean 3-die. It's on armor 7. With your piling on Mighty Blow, you can get some more SPP out of it.
Oh nope, misses 1 assist, so it's only a 2-die. Miscounted a bit there.
Turns out it doesn't matter.
That's a bit scary.
Well, it works out. No SPP, but and then that will result in a touchdown for the lineman, and it goes.
Were you watching the Chaos game where I was playing Twigs and I
No.
took a greedy 3-die?
Oh yes.
On turn 8.
Yes.
And then I rolled a 1 in 27 into a, I think it was both down push or something like that. Like I missed a 1 in 1,000 and whatever by like 1 dice.
Yep.
It's good.
My best is still 5 skulls, 1 both down from a 3-die on a goblin with an orc blitzer. I rolled triple skull and then I re-rolled it into or no, it was an orc lineman, so I didn't even have block. But it was triple skull into skull, both down.
Time to find out if the Dark Elves can one turn. We know they technically can. It's a question of whether they
do or not. It's yeah. They have the movement 7 blitzers and the movement 7 witch elf available.
So this is the kind of setup I was talking about. This makes it a lot harder to get the pushes you need. The stand firm guy is kind of in the way. He's got a guard piece floating behind in Money Talks. I actually kind of would have liked if Money Talks was one square to the left. And then you put a regular non-guard piece where Money Talks is. It makes it even harder, I think. But this is pretty tough to get.
You also have to consider that a riot could be an option, right? If you set up hardcore to defend against the one turn and leave sides open, and then you get a riot, then the Dark Elves can run down the sides to 2-turn it. So you have to make sure that you're kind of countering both.
I don't think that this does it either. I don't think it makes it like if this was a riot, the Dark Elves would have a pretty easy time getting. It also does not look like the Dark Elves are one turning, so they set up basically to take advantage of the riot.
Double skull into double both down into a dead Apo minus movement. Also in unlucky sequence. I want to roll a Hexa skull someday. Like I really want that to occur. I want to show people on stream me rolling a Hexa skull. I want that to be a thing. It's just the closest.
I mean, it's gonna be hard simply because like how many 3 dice do you roll a game, and
yeah.
like what are the odds?
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying the closest I've gotten is Penta skull 1 both down, which is pretty damn close. That's 1 1 1 1 1 2 rather than 1 1 1 1 1 1. Anyway, so Speedy Chip number 4 picks up the MVP, so that's a good MVP. Blitzer SPP is always nice. And then Come Fiesta grabs it as well. Still a ways away, but it's a good player to get it on.
So it's like 1 in what is it?
It's 1 in 6 to the power of 6.
Yeah, 216 to the 3. Or no, 216 to the 2. What am I doing? So yeah, it's 1 in 46,000. You probably roll like maybe like 4 3 dice a game. You're going to play a lot of games before a Hex Skull is like.
Oh, I want to see one. I'm just saying, like that seems so very me, right? It's very very typical of me to just be like, boom, Hex Skull, and I just almost got one. And I was like playing Goblins a while ago, and I think it's funny that's I've been so close. I was 1 away from it. So that's that's the game that we took a look at for Div 7 between Salty Chips and Reality Kings. So Angry and Superfed. So results in a victory for Superfed, 2-1. But that could have easily gone either way. It looks like it was a hard match for both teams. There's a lot of, if this doesn't work, that's bad. There's a lot of, because that worked, that makes this hard, right? There's a lot of individual decisions that certainly made it either difficult for the opponent and that kind of thing. And when it comes down to stuff like that one dodge attempt made it so that this jump up guy was 1 square closer, like weird niche cases like that being the things that you can point out, it's a reasonable game, like a good game to.
Yeah, and it was like it was definitely a game where Superfed had moments where he had pretty frustrating block dice, but like his D6 dice, for instance, were excellent. Like the distribution was pretty average, but he made 14 going for it, 100% of them. He made 76% of his dodges. He made 87% of his loops. So it's easy to look at these cards and try to like kind of draw conclusions about how the game went, but it's just not very meaningful when like that one leap he failed could have been the only leap that actually fucking mattered.
Yeah, and that's what I say all the time is people will be like, but look at the dice rolls. That looks like look at Superfed's block dice. If you just saw those numbers, nobody would say like that's a massive massive off average distribution. That looks pretty reasonable, right? But the point is that the variance is what matters, right? Like you rolled 17 skulls, 16 stumbles, 13 pows. That's like, close enough that it's pretty much average. But the point is, it's all of those. Some people will play games where all of those 17 skulls are just 1 dice and 2 die blocks, and some people will play games where all of those skulls are two skull blocks, right? And that the variance is the biggest difference, right? Whether you see it being the same dice distribution, it depends on where those dice came and what rolls they mattered on, right? Like there was a 1 die, or there was a 1 turn touchdown attempt that ended with a double skull, right? There aren't more skulls than average here. It just happened to prevent the 1 turn because there was a double skull on that 1 roll, right? It's the variance that matters a lot. Anyway, that's my variance dice rant. Since we're looking at we just looked at a Div 7 game. Do we want to look at the rest of the Div 7 matches?
Yeah. So first up is the Old World.
It's so hard to say.
Versus Horn Stars.
2018.
Whatever.
And we predicted that the Chaos were going to win this, and they did.
We did
2-0
Yep.
for the Chaos here. Although the Movement Mummy picks up MVP and levels.
Yeah, boy. What does he get?
Stand firm.
Boo.
Sort of expected if you don't roll doubles. And a Rookie Beast levels. So he's going to get something as well, and he's picked up Wrestle. So let's take a look. 42 to 34 blocks. Whereas the Undead taking 7 KOs, 4 casualties, and a death, versus 3 KOs and 3 casualties is sort of... I think, if I recall correctly, that's kind of how we expected this game to go, right? It's a bash matchup versus a bash matchup. Both sides are going to take damage, but it turns out the one with, like, Claw Mighty Blow is probably going to do more damage and win on the back of that, and it looks like that's what occurred here.
Yep, 20 armor breaks. They did some work.
Yep.
That's looks exactly like what it was. Just like the Undead suffered 50% armor breaks because Claw Mighty Blow is a thing. So that's pretty good.
It is pretty good, yeah.
They hit Claw Mighty Blow, so that might have been a bit of variance as well. Yeah, interesting. There was a fireball. It looks like the fireball targeted 2 players and both of them failed. So
yeah,
it might have been a fireball whiff there. I don't know why you would ever fireball 2 players when you could just lightning bolt one of them.
Yeah, I can't imagine this.
Functionally the same, but has a higher odds. Wait, it's probably safer to lightning bolt one, right?
Yes, yeah. Because it's a 50% to knock down a person with the fireball. So it's essentially 50% to knock down one player.
It's because it's better. Because the odds of you knocking down neither player, if you needed to knock down one of 2 players, the odds of you not knocking down them on one of the players on a lightning bolt is 1 in 6.
Or if you're me, 100%.
Either the odds of you not knocking down either of them on a fireball is 25.
I would like to point out I failed 6 lightning bolts in a row before getting one that worked. I counted.
You'd like to point it out. Thank
you.
You.
Over the course of 7 lightning bolt uses, like over all of my different teams and different divisions and stuff, 7 in a row. The first 6 of them failed. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Like what? I just gave up on lightning bolts for a while, and then I finally got one that worked. Anyway, then we had a rat game that ended 4-0. So we both predicted that the rat team that lost would win. And
yeah, boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, we both predicted the Squeaky Blinders, and Rats Against Teen Stars won 4-0. So I guess we're not allowed to talk about rat things again.
I mean, I never thought I was qualified. Rats Against Teen Star getting a grand total of 19 fucking armor breaks versus 16. So both teams beating the crap out of each other. And probably fouling a lot, given that it's 16 armor breaks on 25 blocks.
So it's 25 blocks versus 51 blocks. So yeah. Potentially that looks like to me that one side got removals or a bit of an advantage early, just to allow them to keep punching the hell out of the other team.
Yep.
Because if it was even,
run it in over and over again.
If it was even throughout the whole game, you'd expect the block numbers to be sort of more similar. But if there was like a couple of those injuries were early, just to give you the advantage and let you punch more than your opponent, it snowballs really hard, and that's why you see things like 51 blocks versus 25 and 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, there's like some potential reasons for that, Vulpus. Like Squeaky Blinders failed 58% of their armor rolls, though that includes fouls, so must be taken with a grain of salt. They failed 56% of their dodges, which seems a little high for rats.
Yeah, that does seem high. Even if they're mostly 3+, that's still too many.
A lot of them might have been really bad dodges to try to get out of like a bad position, but even then, yeah, it's gotta be lower than average.
I mean, for the worst case, most people won't consider making 5+ dodges very frequently, right? So even if you assume that the vast majority of them were 4+ dodges, that's still below average.
Yeah, Squeaky Blinders also rolled 4 POWs the entire game. So
yeah, that doesn't help.
So yeah, we lose some points there. Next up is the game we watched, Salty Tears versus the Reality Kings. We predicted Kislev, and Kislev
won. You cut out there, I think.
What?
You said, and Kislev, and then stopped talking.
I might have like slipped my thumb off the
Yeah.
button or
So
something.
Kislev won. Then we had All Bark and No Bite versus Sugar and Spikes. We predicted Orc would win this one, and it was a tie. So no points to either side. Good MVPs. I mean, the tree picks up an MVP to level him, which is reasonable. Although unless you roll the doubles, he now has everything he cares about in grab and probably guard. Nope, doubles, block, excellent. And then the Black Orc got an MVP as well, and to level. And Black Orc SPP is gold on an Orc team, so that's always really good to see.
Rando is saying all but one of those dodges was a 2+. So having a good time.
Yeah, that sucks. Those dodges and the block disparity sort of explains that game. So I guess we can't beat ourselves up too much for predicting it wrong, because you can't predict 44% 2+ dodges.
Truth. Nurgle versus Lizards. You predicted Nurgle, I predicted Lizards, and the Lizards won. Seemingly by bashing the shit out of the Nurgle a bit. On 33 blocks, they got 3 KOs and 3 injuries and 12 armor breaks on 33 blocks is a lot.
They actually didn't really finish the Orc game.
Oh, right. It was a tie. And I was like, ties don't matter, 0-0, yeah. And then I moved.
Well, it was a tie, but I imagine it was a tie because the Orcs didn't manage to do enough damage to make it easy for them to score.
You wouldn't fucking think that, looking at the
well, they did damage, but I mean damage early, right? If that damage all came at the end, once it was already 1-1, suddenly they can't do the 2-1 grind because there are enough elves to stop you from scoring the second time, and that's probably what occurred. So back to what you said about the Lizards and the Nurgle.
Yeah. So Lizards getting a lot of removals on not a lot of blocks, and a lot of armor breaks on not a lot of blocks. Suggests maybe some shenanigans were at play. Nurgle only getting 6 armor breaks, though that did result in 2 CAS, which is way above average. So, though on 46 blocks, you've got to be pretty sad about that. So kind of balanced out for that.
That explains.
MVP going to the Dodge Saurus, who levels.
That explains a lot of the results, honestly. Like the way Nurgle wins against Lizard, like Nurgle will lose against Lizards all of the times unless Nurgle can remove Saurus, is basically how this game goes. And getting way out removed basically just means you lose, and there's not a whole lot you can do about that as Nurgle, which is kind of the frustrating nature of Nurgle sometimes. But
I don't remember how killy this Nurgle team is. I don't think they were incredibly equipped with skills, and like if they only hit armor 9 all match, like, and they didn't have Mighty Blow or Claw, then that's pretty average for armor rolls.
If I recall correctly, they had some, and my sort of argument was like, if you happen to get a Saurus removal on like turn 1 or 2, it could be over. But if that doesn't happen, then the Lizards will probably eventually win. So that's probably what happened here, I think.
Yep, looks like that, and maybe even a bit more dramatic than that, because the Lizards seem to have out-removed the Nurgle by, quite a significant degree. Blodgesaurus exists now, much better than a Dodgesaurus, it must be said. And the Wrestle Tackle piece, rather, gets MVP, which you're never sad about.
Was that the Lizard team that we suggested remove the Skink?
The Bashing Lizzies. I got a message from that guy.
Yes, I think it is.
Glomar. Yeah, I think it is. And you were like, I'm not sure if he's going to see this. And then he commented, I think on the Reddit post, saying he did see it and he did make those changes. As we can see, once Catch Skunk is gone, one route.
And then he didn't give up inducements in 1-2-0. Boom. It's almost like
vindication.
It's almost like you should listen to us sometimes, or like maybe we know a little bit of Blood Bowl things. I mean, I know I'm not great, but we know some things about Blood Bowl sometimes. And we had.
I mean, it must be said we know a lot about the Nurgle Lizard matchup.
That's true. That is a match that's been played a lot between us. Then we had Crypt Lords 2, Boogaloo, and Stump Force. Dwarfs versus Necro. We predicted Dwarfs would win this, and it was a 0-0 tie, which I'm unsure of whether it's exciting or boring, and I can't tell you without watching it.
Yeah. Necro getting 0 damage on the Dwarves. Despite having Claw, though Claw without Mighty Blow is not great at removing thick skull players, it must be said.
And they sustained 72 blocks while only taking 1 KO and 2 casualties, which is, not terrible for them. It could have been much worse.
Necro getting 0 SPP other than an MVP. Dwarves only getting the 2 CAS. Let's see.
Yeah, that's a lot of seems like it was likely a boring game. A lot of blocks with nothing occurring. The ball being on the floor a lot of the time, for that matter. 38 yards running versus 32 yards running. Like, they barely moved anywhere with the ball in hand. This looks like it was a giant bash fest that accomplished nothing on either side, which is disappointing because the Dwarves have a death roller. I wish the death roller did a thing.
Yeah, the Necro armor held up remarkably well. 72% when you're facing players with a lot of Mighty Blow. I don't know if the team has a lot of Mighty Blow, but I would expect Dwarves to have at least a couple. 72% is quite high for armor rolls, and really kind of kept the Necro in this game longer than they probably.
And then we had one punch Ogre and the Mordheim Cryptors. I mean, I predicted the Ogres to win, but I think I'm going to predict the Ogres to win from now until the end of the season. So that's not really a surprise for me. I'm just very pleased.
I will continue to shamelessly collect your points.
That's fine.
And then one time they're gonna win, and we're gonna watch the game, and I'm gonna be really happy about it secretly. Block Mummy levels, which is excellent. I imagine gets guard. No, he actually went for stand firm before guard. Don't love
if
that.
He already has guard on the whites, which he may because he took block on the mummy first, so he may have gone, well, hey, I need some guard, and picked it up on the whites instead. Then if you already have enough guard, the stand firm is fine. It just means it's going to be a long time until you get to Mighty Blow.
Doesn't exist.
It's just going to be a long time until you get it again.
It's not a thing.
Def down, getting the MVP, which is going to level him. So this is the break tackle, piling on Juggernaut Ogre, and he's going to pick up grab, which makes sense if you only roll normals, because what else do you take there? Like strong arm? There's only so many strength skills. And yes, guard is great, but when your entire team is strength 5, it's slightly less relevant. And he's going to be doing blitzy things, so grab is probably pretty useful.
Jesus, the Ogres kicked the crap out of the Undead, though.
Unsurprising, they're Ogres.
The Undead managed 20 blocks. The Ogres managed 41 and got 4 KOs, 7 injuries, and a kill.
Wow. That's a lot of SPP.
Defender down got 11 SPP, yeah. So did Spine Chewer. So it looks like the Ghoul just ran it in over and over again while the Ogres kind of sat there uselessly. Which is what Ogres kind of tend to do.
I heard something with an edgy... that's amazing! Oh my god, I'm not going to talk about that now, but that's amazing. We'll have to look at that next week. There's an edgy 4 Ogre.
Gypsy Prince was messaging me about him because he wants to make a montage about that player featuring you being like, you should fire the AV busted guy.
I think it was you that said you should fire the AV busted
I would never say you should fire an agi up Ogre.
He sent me a message earlier asking for the VOD, like a raw form of the VOD, so he could take the clips from it, and he specifically mentioned that it was you saying it. So
what did he mention me? Because to me he mentioned you.
Yeah.
So
playing sides against each other.
And now he's playing League of Legends like a chump.
And
he's not even watching our cast.
This is what the leaderboard for Div 7 looks like after these weeks. So we've got Rats Against Teen Stars and the Bastion Lizzies tied for first with 3 wins. Then in second we've got Kislev Superfed with 2 and 1. And then there's smattering of 2-0-1s and then some 1-1-1 teams. Everybody really close so far. Nobody with getting absolutely stomped. David, Redbeard, and Tetsuya down at the bottom with 1-1-2 records, but that's not uncomebackable from. And 1-2 is fine. Nobody's like, the Nurgle are 0-3, which is kind of unfortunate, but sometimes that's Nurgle life.
Yep. So he's just going to be building this season, probably. Having sustained 3 early losses means you're unlikely to win the division, and I would probably argue you should focus on development, but... You
mean you should focus on, being slightly more pixel huggy instead of trying to win every game?
Don't try to...
Oh, maybe so you're saying that... So potentially that's a thing that's a valid strategy sometimes? Oh man, it's almost as if that's what I was trying to say the whole fucking time.
Yeah, but it wasn't fucking at all relevant last game.
So shall we look at predicting things?
The Old World Wardens versus Ye Old Guard. So this is Undead versus Nurgle. This should be a really tough match for the Nurgle if they do not have kills. And they do not. They only have Mighty Blow. So
1540 Nurgle with 2 Mighty Blow, no guard. There is 2 tackle, which are going to do a thing against the ghouls potentially, or at least they have the option of like chasing down the ghouls. Problem is one of those tackles is on a Nurgle warrior who are very slow.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough match, certainly.
1460 for the Undead means they're going to get some inducements.
The Undead seem to have lost a white.
Yep.
They also are missing a ghoul who is MNG. No, he's niggled. That's a dead ghoul because he's a rookie.
Yep.
And then they are also missing a block zombie, which matters less. He's only MNG'd.
Yeah, the lack of kill skills and the fact that Jimmy exists, I think puts this firmly in the Undead camp for me.
Yeah, agreed.
Then we have Sugar and Spikes versus Stump Force. So we've got the where is Sugar and Spice? I cannot find them. They're Orcs by Weeknight Wizard versus so it's Troll Orcs versus Death Roller Dwarves. Excellent.
Not excellent.
Excellent. So it's going to be 1630 Orcs versus 1490 Dwarves. So Dwarves get inducements, I guess, over the Orcs. Dwarves have 4 guard. The Orcs have 6, including the Troll.
The Orcs have quite a bit of guard.
6, yeah, if you include the Troll, which you should.
This is a matchup where the Death Roller is actually pretty clutch.
Yeah, it's a big chunk of strength, even if it's not just for the removals. It's just that like the strength 7 is annoying to shift.
So what's interesting here is if the Orcs do not fire some bench, they're going to be at 1630 TV after the level up and clearing some cash, and the Dwarves are going to be
1570.
at 1570. So the Dwarves are going to be most of the way to a bribe, and I would strongly suggest they scum it because they're sitting at full cash and full positionals.
Yep, and bribe for the Death Roller on a match that is not likely to be high scoring. So if you go, if either team, if scores on, at the very end, you have the bribe available to keep the Death Roller for the entire other half, and you could potentially get like 14 Death Roller turns in a match where the Death Roller is going to be pretty useful because of all the strength.
Yeah, and because you have a bench, you don't have to field it for like a turn 8 if you haven't sustained any damage.
But you're probably not going to, considering there's 1 or 2 Mighty Blow, including the Troll, on the Orc team, and your Armor 9 Thick Skull. And like, if it was like a million Mighty Blow and you're taking 8 Mighty Blow hits a turn, yeah, on average you're going to lose somebody eventually. When you're only taking 1 and your Armor 9 Thick Skull, you're probably not going to lose people unless you get unlucky.
Yeah, so what are you thinking?
Man, as much as I really, really, really want the Death Roller to win, I feel like the Orcs just have an advantage in the guard department, so I want to go with Orcs.
Agreed. I was gonna bait you into picking the Dwarves, but I think
I really want the Dwarves to win because Death Rollers, but I think the guard advantage is difficult to overcome. Reality Kings and the Mordheim Crypt Horrors. So we've got Superfed's Kislev that are now at 1980. They'll be playing with their full complement of catchers again. I'm having them all back now, so they're up to the 4, including the movement 8 catch piece for 1 turning and stuff.
Yeah, just in time to play another Undead team and lose them all again.
Yep. Although this one...
Oh no, this is Necro, right?
No, this is Undead. It's Dr. Spagooters.
Dr. Spagooters.
So he's going to get a reasonable amount of inducements, and by reasonable, I mean like 500k, which is a lot.
Undead do not have amazing inducements. Excuse me, do not have amazing inducements.
Morgenthorn.
Yeah, you can get Morg. What's the team that the Morg refuses to play for? It's only one.
I think it's Undead.
Actually?
It might be. I don't actually remember. Yeah, it's Undead. That's funny. What can you actually...
He'll play for Nurgle, but he won't play for Undead.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there's Count Luther von Drakenborg, like the vamp. There's the chainsaw.
You get a vamp. Do you not have Bloodlust?
He does not have Bloodlust.
Oh,
He's
that's pretty.
block, hypno gaze, regen, sidestep, strength 5, ag 4, movement 6.
How much is he?
390. So you could get him and like a wizard potentially if you're willing to spend a like 20 or 30k.
I mean, in this matchup, the Kislev are probably going to be playing fairly. Well, no, they've got a lot of guard. They can actually stand toe to toe decently well. They're going to kind of play like Dark Elves, I think.
We've got the they have the strength 3 sidestep chainsaw. They've got the stupid.
I don't like chainsaw against League players. It's just too easy to remove a lot of value.
There's the I'm just giving all of the options. I know. There's the stupid J Earlice like diving catch dodge player who's going to be entirely irrelevant. Ramtut the Third is pretty reasonable with strength 6.
Ramtut is awesome. I used him in the Huge Jackman Cup to great effect against Herringzord when I diced the shit out of him.
Setek would also be pretty. Setek is a good player, and he's pretty reasonable value as well with strength 4, break tackle, Juggernaut, strip ball.
There is no sure hands on the side of the Kislev.
So he might be a useful player. There's also the stab guy who's probably dumb.
Yeah, definitely dumb.
But anyway, this.
Can they get Zara? They can get Zara
No, they
on
cannot.
Undead, right? That's a shame. Zara would... Oh wait, never mind. I'm thinking the other way around. Disregard.
Yeah.
Zara would not be good against Kislev.
No, they would not. There's basically, I'm saying there's a lot of inducement options for Dr. Spagooters. Somehow, I'd like some of them are going to be really good and will certainly give you options. Like both Ramtut and Setek give you a lot of reasonable options against Kislev. Like the strength 6 will be really hard for them to shove around. However, they don't really need to. If they don't want to, they can just get out pretty easily. You're not going to be using him for that. There's no strip ball, or there's no sure hand, so the strip ball might be pretty useful with the strength 4 break tackle strip ball.
Does he have sure hands in the ghoul, but he does not?
He does not. So, I mean, this is a long-winded way of saying Superfed has this. I think, like, pretty fairly undeniably, but there are certainly things that Dr. Spagooters can do to make it annoying for him, depending on what he does with his inducements. You could also just straight up go, like, you know, a million bribes and foul Kislev players into the dirt.
Yeah, he could just beat them to death. He's got a couple of mighty blow. Like he's down. I think one of his. No, he's not the one down. Is white. So he's got 3 mighty blow players. It's not a lot, really.
I mean, but you could induce like a dirty player zombie. You could induce like 3 bribes and then just like try to foul him into the dirt.
Never induce 3 bribes. Just putting that out there. You're never going to use 3 bribes.
No, unless you're goblins.
Yes.
But
if you're not on non secret weapon teams, you're never gonna use them.
Like there are a lot of options for Dr. Spagooters, and some of them make it more annoying, but I think the end result is you'll hurt more Kislev players, but you'll still probably lose to them, because even with even if he loses some players, he's got like all of them are developed enough that they can be annoying and like strength, ag 4 movement 8, ag 4 movement 7 or whatever, just to score when he wants to. Is going to be difficult unless you like remove the entire team. So you could play around that and like induce star players and then bribes and just try to foul them into the dirt, which might be a reasonable option to win here. But
hey, look, next up it's Rats versus Ogres. Who do you think's gonna win, Ben?
Ogres. I'm not even looking. I don't. Gypsy Prince is my hero. We're going Ogres.
Easy points.
I mean, the Ogres are near the bottom of the division, and the Rats are near the top of the division. The correct choice is Rats. I'm going to pick Ogres every time.
That's cool. I like your dedication. Horn Stars versus Crypt Lords 2 Boogaloo.
Man.
Chaos versus
It's Necro.
Lords 2 is Necro? Yeah. So Necro with no Claw Mighty Blow, as I recall. No, they do have 2 Claw Mighty Blow. What am I talking about?
The other division.
Wow, that was it the other division? Where they failed to kill...
The other division is like a Blodge werewolf and a block tackle werewolf or something.
Yeah, but it was the other one where they played the Dwarves and didn't get any damage despite having 2 Claw Mighty Blow werewolves. Now I revise that as that's really sad. I didn't think he had the we talked about it earlier. Don't worry.
That may be boring for Gypsy Prince for me to say I predict Gypsy Prince literally every round instead of taking it seriously, but I really, really want to. So if you have a problem with that, Gypsy Prince, feel free to let me know and I'll predict more seriously. But I think it's funny, so I'm going to keep doing it until you tell me that you think it's boring, and then I'll go back to doing it normally. if that's fair.
So, this is not a matchup that's super easy for the Necro. The Chaos have a good amount of guard and a hell of a lot more kill than you do. They have two Claw Mighty Blow of their own, along with
A hell of a lot more strength.
Yep.
5 strength 4 pieces.
Strength. Yes,
Versus 2.
So... Oh yeah, normally they have 6, but they're down 1. And they have an Agi up Sacker, which is going to be nice.
1800.
The one thing the Necro do get out of this, of course, is inducements. They're in
Cheney.
Cheney territory.
Cheney is
which will give them
exists.
4 and another claw.
Yep.
I don't know. What do you think?
And another movement 8, right? Chaos are certainly slow compared to movement 8.
I still think, by the way, Minimo, that I would consider firing Tom Wanks. I don't think he's doing anything for you right now.
I predict Chaos. I think the strength, the guard, and the the mighty blow spam is going to be too annoying for the undead to deal with, even potentially with Cheney. And you know, there's a mildly annoying ball carrier in the Sure-Hands Blodge. I think I want to go with Chaos. Even down a Chaos Warrior, I think I want to go with Chaos.
Yeah, I agree.
Then we have Rando Maximus, Squeaky Blinders versus the Bash and Lizzies. So we've got...
Traditionally a hard matchup for lizards.
There are no Claw Storm Vermin, so like the Saurus removal potential isn't necessarily there. But the big deal is that it's so easy for a dodge 2 heads wrestle strip ball gutter runner to get the ball off skinks.
Yep.
It's
one die on a 3+.
2+. Anything but a skull, right?
Oh no, sorry, I meant the dodge.
Oh, the dodge, yeah.
No, wait, it's normally a 4+, so it's 3+, right? Nah.
It's
normally it's a 4+.
Yeah, but if you ever don't fully cage, like if there's ever one square from that cage missing, it becomes, 3+ rerollable into a 2+ to get the ball off you. Like they will take this game and they're going to take that 1,000,000% of the time.
Yeah, and Arthur Colby is made for hunting skinks and killing them. So the thing that the rats are going to have to watch out for, of course, is like taking too much attrition early on. They do not have a bench right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're actually going to get 1 rookie.
Oh, what are the rookies? 60? 50. So they're at 1470, and the lizards are at 1550, and then that's not changing.
They can get a babe or something like that.
Yeah, 80k is not a whole lot for Skaven.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough for the lizards to hold on to the ball. They do have a...
we could spend 20k for Fezglitch.
They could.
Don't do that.
I would recommend, if I were the lizards, to be real careful with your cages and your positioning of your guard. The problem you're going to have, I think, is that you're not super likely to cause a ton of damage because you don't have the Mighty Blow and you don't really have the block everywhere to kind of get that.
Like it could very easily devolve into a stalemate where if the lizards are super careful, it will be hard for the rats to get the ball off them. But if they're super careful, they're probably not scoring. And if they ever if they're ever forced to do the greedy sort of, or not the greedy, but the like aggressive, I have to score now sort of plays where you can't be 100% safe, the rats just take the ball from you and then you don't score. But by being super safe, you also don't score. And then I think it's kind of a weird catch-22 for the lizards, and that it's going to be very hard for you to score. But if you play really safe, it'll be difficult for the rats to take it from you. But then it goes to the rats' drive, and they score really easily. I think...
So the lizards can do it if they grind up the pitch slowly, but if they ever have like a turn where like the block dice aren't working out, where like stuff just isn't happening, where the Crocs boneheads, where they fail a dodge, like they could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the lizards really want to get removals, and it's going to be hard for them to do so. But every removal they do get is just one less rat because there isn't a bench, which is a big deal. And 4 of those 11 players are strength 2 and not really that capable of pushing your strength 4 around. So you can be safe a lot, but being safe a lot isn't scoring, and sometimes you need to score to win. So
And then we have All Bark No
We
Bite.
didn't predict
versus...
anybody. We just talked about it.
Oh, sorry. I predicted the rats, and I assumed.
Yeah, I predict the rats as well because I think it's just going to be hard for the lizards to actually score.
Yep. And then we have David's Wood Elves versus Salty Chips, who we just saw. Didn't really take any damage, I don't think. So
we've
Hangray
got
should be in good shape for this.
1,600 Wood Elves because they get a loner lineman versus 1,780 Dark Elves. So certainly wizard territory, and that's a thing that Wood Elves can take very strong advantage of.
Yep, and this is also a Dark Elf team with no Mighty Blow, so they're not going to be threatening a lot of kill pressure on this Wood Elf team.
No.
The Wood Elf team does not have Strip Ball, though, because Elm is pretty new.
Yeah, he lost
Elm is
one.
brand new, unfortunately, so...
It's an elf matchup where one team is slightly elfier than the other team because Wood Elves.
Yeah.
But it's a very developed elf team that has a lot of dodge, and it has a lot of there is a couple wrestle available. There is a couple high agi pieces to sort of be slightly elfier than normal.
Both teams have agi up players. Both teams have only one tackle. Both teams have tons of dodge. The Wood Elves are way elfier, especially because two of the linemen have movement busts. So the Dark Elves are actually even slower than average Dark Elves. I kind of want to give this slightly to the Wood Elves.
Yeah, that ward answer is going to be the key piece in this, right? The movement 9 and the tackle are both that's two of your biggest advantages over the other team on one player. So you have to be really careful with that word answer, but not too careful, because if you're too careful with him, you're not using him, right? So that walnut is the absolute key to winning this match for the Wood Elves, I think. So if you do well with him, then I think he will, can potentially carry the game. But you do rely on him doing well. Yeah, there's the leap factor as well to think about. Well, we haven't had anything contentious yet other than the ogre, which doesn't count, right? So
Yeah.
I'll go Salty Chips. Let's go Dark Elf. I believe in you. I may be a little bit excited because of that game we just watched, but I think I want to go with the Dark Elves. So let's go take a look at Div 6. So we will see the matches that have occurred. Thankfully, this match has been played. When we started this review, the Snake Kitties versus another Bloody Bell hadn't been played yet, but it has been now. Perfect. So first we had Starry Fight versus with a Rebel Yell. So this is Dwarves and
This
Undead.
is Rumblebee and not Rumblebee, and I picked Rumblebee and you picked not Rumblebee and not Rumblebee one.
Yep, 1-0. Ali Babad picked up, which is weird because you picked a stab player against armor 9, but I guess he is block sidestep, which is probably the slightly more annoying bit of that. He's also really cheap, so if you didn't have many options, it's also not unreasonable. But yeah, so the Undead taking this one down 1-0. Let's see.
Dwarves inflicted 8 KOs on 44 blocks.
And the Undead sustained 10 KOs and 2 casualties. So also hurt themselves a bit. I imagine this is Undead managed to score, and then Dwarves sort of beat the hell out of the Undead, but didn't quite manage to score on their own, even though they I'm saying the removals all happened after it was already 1-0. And not maybe fast enough for the Dwarves to make it 1-1.
Looks like there was a lot of inducements, because I'm seeing an impact of the bomb as well. So I think there was a bombardier.
Yeah, impact of the bomb is a thing.
There was also one stab attempt. It
Wait,
failed.
it's they're undead, right? Undead don't have a bomber, or is this the weird thing where the impact of the bomb is rolled by the player who uses it? Because dwarves can have a bomber, but I don't think undead have
Did they
one.
both induce things?
That's what my guess is, because dwarves or undead can't have any. There's no bomber for undead, so I imagine there was, what's his face, Boomer or whatever for the dwarves.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there.
And then next up is Skaven versus Lizards. We predicted Skaven, and the Lizards won.
We're not very good at this, apparently. Maybe it was at home, well, because you can't reduce it to 0, right?
You can reduce it to 10.
Yeah, but yeah, I suppose that's true. Why would the dwarves have a Nuffles altar though? That seems like such a weird choice.
Reasons.
Rumblebee, I guess. It might be the answer to that question.
Maybe. So the Lizards didn't actually inflict a lot of damage. It looks like they just out pitch controlled the rats, which is very surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it might be like the sort of thing that we talked about just before for Div 7, is that if the Lizards play it right, it's incredibly difficult for the rats to take the ball off them because of guard strength 4 cage corners. But
sure,
and that might explain the sort of 1-0 option, right? If you can.
Yeah, but how do you prevent the rats from counter scoring with that strategy?
If you get one lucky turn where the rats, you can knock over the rat ball and then just protect it forever, or if they fail to pick it up, it relies heavily on one really lucky turn, basically. But if that occurs, you can make a score line of 1-0 without too much difficulty, which may be
the rats failed a ton of dodges. They only passed 68% of their dodges. So it could be they snaked something at a bad time.
And then the Lizards just, caged up the ball with Saurus and said, "Come at me, bro. It's 1-0, enjoy."
Could have been.
Yeah, that's good. Like that's what my sort of interpretation of these results are like. But without watching it, we can't exactly tell. But I imagine it was, Lizards scored and then just tried really hard to keep the ball safe forever.
Yep. And then it was Chorfs versus Humans, the Wayside Wondermongers versus Boss Hogs Outlaws, and the Chorfs won it 2-0.
Which we predicted. We didn't predict the 2-0, but we predicted the Chorfs.
Yep. Looks like a similar number of armor breaks, a similar-ish number of removals, though the Humans got slightly out-removed over the...
Well, 9 to 5. I mean...
no, I think the kill is included in the injuries.
Is it?
I don't know, actually. The Humans sustained a lot, or only one more.
Yeah, one more than was inflicted.
That's just a foul, probably.
Well, they sustained one more than was inflicted, but they sustained 9, and the Chaos Dwarves sustained 5. So
yeah, that's fair. And all but one were a KO. So it could be that the Humans got significantly out-removed.
But then again, KOs means that, it could have been 2 1/2 and then 2 another half rather than 4 forever kind of thing.
Everyone was really good at their KO rolls. The Humans made all 4 of theirs, and the Chorfs made 75% of theirs.
Yeah, so it might have been like, 2 KOs first half, 2 KOs before a score kind of thing, and they just all kept coming back. So despite being, quote, out-removed, it may not have been resulting in an actual big player advantage at many points until the casualties and death occurred, of course. But even small player advantages can make a pretty big difference when your team is the one that can take advantage of that. Something like Chorfs with so much guard and strength 4 ball carriers or what have you. 3 removals in one turn. That makes a difference. The sure hands.
Turn 1 against the Humans. Okay, so the Chorfs were up men most of the game, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and that problem likely explains the 2-0.
And then Lizards versus Orcs, we predicted the Orcs, and we did watch that game, so we know we predicted the Lizards, rather.
And the Orcs won, but we did watch it, so we don't need to go over it again. We saw what happened. Flab K, very much deserving of the MVP in that game. That guy did work, and he got the MVP for it, so good job him. Then we had Hausdorff's Homewreckers versus the First and Forsaken Lions. We predicted the Chorfs would take this, and they did, 2-1. So let's see if the injuries tell the story here. Yep.
Someone got chorfed.
That's exactly what we expected to happen.
35 blocks, 15 removals. No, I mean it's 13 because I think the kills are included.
35 blocks sustained, 10 casualties, 7 KOs, and 2 deaths. And if I recall correctly, that High Elf team didn't actually have a bench, so that is somebody getting appoed and then injured again,
or waking up after KO.
But that's 12 casualties if the deaths aren't included, and the team was 11 players.
Yep, got pitch cleared.
I think the team was 11 players. It might have had a bench. I don't remember.
Poor.
But yeah,
Elves.
that's sort of what we expected to happen. Like the Hausdorff's Homewreckers are a ludicrous kill dwarf Chorf team. They have so much Claw Mighty Blow, and the high elves are slow, so you're not really gonna outrun it. They're just they kind of rely on the silly, ludicrous. They're like the Nurgle of elf teams, I guess, right? They can be really good with a lot of development. They're very good at sort of the crazy pass games, but unless you can score before you lose players, then you're kind of screwed. And this Chorf team is built around removing players. So this is sort of how we expected this to go, that the Chorfs would win on the back of making sure there weren't elves anymore, and I think that's how that went down.
For sure.
Orcsploitation Cinema and the 3 cash 3 crew revengeing. So this was
this happened before we
did the scoring, so we can't predict it, but we can look at what occurred.
Orcs punched humans. Humans crumbled.
Humans
not like permanently, but they got KO'd.
But humans scored enough that it didn't make a difference. I mean, 7 KOs and a casualty sustained, but 3 cash, 3 crew has a lot of they're very elfy humans, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and they elfed and they won.
Yep, 2-1. Maybe slightly less hard than an elf team would have. Maybe a good wood elf team could have been 3-1 or something, but 2-1 is good enough. Humans doing human things, where you play agi/speed against the bash teams and hope to eke out a victory with more scoring, and they certainly did so.
Yep, and someone had a chainsaw in that game. It's kind of hard to tell who, because they had very similar TVs, so someone probably scummed one, and it rolled once before presumably knocking itself out.
Did they both have a chain? I think they both had a chainsaw, because the chainsaw roll is the 2+ you have to make before you do a thing, right?
And they both
made one.
What?
Or
one of them made 2 even.
I don't. The dice log in Blood Bowl is dumb, and I don't know how it works sometimes. I don't know if this means they both had a chainsaw, or if it was like when you block against the chainsaw, they have to roll, but you're rolling it because it's your turn or whatever. I don't know. It's dice log is dumb.
Then we have Wood Elves versus Necro. I said Necro, and you said Wood Elf, and you were right.
Hooray! Making up for my constant ogre predictions with actual correct choices.
I'm pretty sure I lost. I definitely lost points in this division.
So we had lineman, movement 8 lineman picking up MVP, zombie picking up MVP to level him, and he got wrestler block. Or dirty player, but I think it was already dirty player there. Wood Elves, 4 passes, 4 catches, 3 touchdowns. That probably explains most of them there. Similar number of blocks, like the Undead didn't actually manage to outblock the Wood Elves, which is kind of surprising.
Well, it's not really. What often happens is simply that the Undead mark up the Wood Elves.
Wood Elves
and the
dodge
Wood
out.
Elves dodge out. So.
But like when
and the Wood Elves are happy to block off like zombies and things like that when they can. Like they're really only dodging out from mummies, because everything else they're on par strength-wise with. So as long as there's not a lot of guard in play, and the Wood United do have a couple of guard pieces.
And the Wood Elves inflicted more casualties than the Undead did. Undead sustaining 3 casualties, Wood Elves sustaining 1.
Jesus.
So the Wood Elves kind of
like the Wood Elves.
Yeah.
It looks like the Wood armor held about average, a bit above average if you consider the Mighty Blow, probably. They only failed 40%, or no, quite a bit above average if you consider the Mighty Blow, unless a bunch of the hits were on the tree, which seems unlikely. They made 40% of their armor rolls, which is pretty high, and they only sustained 1 cas, or 1 removal even. No, 1 cas from that, so.
Yeah, Elves kind of both outbashing and outscoring Undead in that game, it seems. Although the Undead did manage to score twice as well, which is surprising to me when they're getting dice or statistics results like this, where the Elves like sort of outscore and have similar block numbers that result in more removals than a bash team. You'd sort of expect like the kind of 2-0 3-1 sort of victory. So well done on the Common Nightmares, I guess, for getting at least 2. Can't imagine it was easy. This looks like the Elves had this kind of in control for most of it. And so with that, we look at the leaderboard. We have the Hausdorff's Homewreckers and the Greenskin Brawlers with records of 2-1-0, so both undefeated, tied for first. Then the other Chaos Dwarfs in Vulpes and Cultas, Boss Hog Outlaws being 2-0-1. Then a couple 1-2s, 1-1-1s, and then the only Philosophical not doing well down at the bottom with 0-0-3, but we still have a chance to come back if you keep winning all of your games for now, but it's a disheartening start to the season, to say the least. And then, a couple 1-0-2 teams, so starting to separate a little bit here. Another couple of weeks, we might see some distinct groups show up. Next week, we've got With a Rebel Yell and the Greenskin Brawlers. We got Professor Chaos's Orcs, and we have Jasposaurus Rex's Undead. So 1740 Undead versus 1720 Orc.
Sorry, I was counting it up. I gained 1 point this week, and you lost 1 point.
So that makes the scores 3-1 currently.
To me?
To me. As of last week, it was 4-0 me.
You were 4 points ahead. Damn.
It was 4-0 as of last week, yeah. So now it's 3-1. It would have been funny if you lost points and it was like 3 to -1 or something.
No, I'm in the positive.
Above average.
So with a Rebel Yell versus Greenskin Brawlers.
So it's a pretty typical Orc team. Nothing too crazy. There's a Blodge Thrower. We saw the team. There's the Stand Firm Guard Orc who's super good.
They're unusual in the sense that they only have one Mighty Blow.
That's true.
I guess.
And the Undead aren't crazy stat freaks. They are slight stat freaks with an Agi White, an Agi Ghoul, and a Strength Zombie, but it's not insane yet.
That's pretty good.
Block Guard, Stand Firm Mummy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty solid Undead team, really. It's like
is.
Exactly what you wanted, except some would argue I think the Agi White doesn't make as much sense to have the Agi on a non-guard piece, but it's still nice to have as a sack. And
there's a lot of block zombies, which is a lot of extra 20Ks here and there, which may or may not be useful, but I mean, I think it's fine. It's just they're easily fireable if you want to and or need to save TV somewhere. I don't think now is the time though.
Nope. So he's going to be aggressively outguarded. He only has 3 guard to the Orcs. Much more than that.
Massive bench though. And no,
I'm thinking of the other Orc.
He has a bench of 3, and the Orc has a bench of 1. So with there's a couple Mighty Blow there. There's 4 Mighty Blow. There's 2 Dirty Player. There's 3 bench. Like it could be not unreasonable to have an Orc or 2 removed, and then the Orcs are suddenly down players. If any one of those are a guard player, that suddenly swings the game pretty quickly.
The Orcs also do get like 80k of inducements. So
they have some money to burn. So that could
wouldn't hate either babes or bribes.
No, I think babes probably. You're not like the Mighty Blow is more often than not going to be used to break the armor rather than injure you. So just having the babes to make sure that your players actually come back is probably a pretty big deal.
Yeah, you're going to be potentially facing a lot of damage between the Dirty Player and the 4 Mighty Blow, 2 of which is also piling on. So it's going to be a tough match for the Orcs, I think. They don't outguard the Undead as much as I thought they might. They do outstrength them, of course, but not significantly, especially when you consider that some of the strength is that block Stand Firm Mummy. So, man, you wish that was guard. Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking the other mummy.
You're thinking Div 7.
Yeah, so both mummies are guard Stand Firm. It's going to be really hard for the Orcs to deal with that, especially the block one.
It's not
kind of want to give this to the Undead.
Not an easy choice, especially since both of these are sort of top of the table teams currently. So it's hard to take that into account. Every time I keep going back and forth. I look at the Undead team. I'm like, I think they'll win, and then I go back and look at the Orcs and say, I think they'll win. So I don't really know what to pick here. Sure. Let's.
It's gonna be contested.
Let's go.
So
let's go Orc, and we'll make it opposite, so we can get some more points differentials in here. So then we have First and Forsaken Lions versus Boss Hog Outlaws. Oh my god, I feel bad for RK Blaze. He just played Chorfs and got annihilated, and he's gonna play Chorfs again.
At least it looks like his team is mostly okay. How many of these are niggles? That's not a niggle.
I mean, his team is okay, but he's missing most of it for this game.
Yes, I'm just speaking long term.
8.
So no, all of these are actually MNGs. They're not Niggles, which is nice.
He's only gonna have one blitzer, but it is an Agi strip ball blodge blitzer, which is pretty useful. The thrower is still around, and he has one catcher available still.
He's playing. Who's he playing?
Vulpes and Cultas, Chorfs. The good news for him is that they're all Mighty Blow, not Mighty Blow Claw.
Yeah, but Mighty Blow is going to do enough against this team. There is actually a sure hands player too, so the strip ball is less.
So let's calculate the inducements because this could make a difference. How many players do the elves get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they get 3, and elf linemen are 70, so that's another 210. So they'll be at 1500 on the nose. And the Chaos Dwarfs are 1690, so that's 190k, which is a wizard and like a babe if you want to spend 10k, which they probably don't because they only have 10k.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it'd be more if they dropped a reroll. Just saying.
Do they have 4 rerolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, drop a reroll.
We tell them that every week.
So it is a wizard, and a wizard makes a pretty big difference that elves can take advantage of, especially when you have an Agi 4 or Agi 5 player available. An Agi 5 player who can throw from a million tackle zones if they want to with Agi strong arm and pass to get that ball gone. The only thing that the big thing that the Chorfs can take solace here in, I guess, is that there's only one movement 8 player and like one movement 7. For the most part, the entire elf team is movement 6, which is really slow for elves. So even if they do wizard your ball down, they have 2 players really that can do anything about it, and everyone else is going to be really slow.
Yep, and a lot of their TV is tied up in dodge, which is pretty worthless against most Chorf players. And they have no bench, so they have no safety net at all. If the Kaz or like removals start flowing, as you would expect, like from a Mighty Blow spam team against Armor 8, like the Pro Elves are going to find themselves, or the High Elves rather, are going to find themselves dwindling in numbers really.
Yeah,
quickly.
only one blitzer means only one block. I'm going to give this to the Chorfs, and I feel bad for Arcade Blaze having to play Chorfs after just having played Chorfs and having lost a bunch of his team. But sometimes that's Blood Bowl, and at least the 2 Chorf games are out of the way, and he may want to focus on trying to keep that thrower alive. It's going to be a really hard game for him. Like, he gets 150k, but like it's not. I don't think it helps as much as you'd think with most of your good players out. It's going to be really hard for him. So I'm gonna give that to Vulpes. Do you agree?
Yeah. Totally.
3 cash, 3 crew, Revengeing, and another Bloody Bell. So we've got the 1940 humans of JJ Cash with his fucking stupid players.
You saw that his players got stupider, right?
Yep.
Like, I think the thrower rolled strength up again.
No, that's the different team.
Oh yes, I'm thinking of someone else's thrower rolled strength.
I mean, JJ Cash doesn't have a thrower because his blitzer is his thrower. He's got an Agi 5 blitzer.
Oh,
philosophical.
Yes. So that thrower level up, he on his plus movement, plus agi, plus strength thrower, I believe is boxcar.
Oh, good.
So if the player that has rolled 10, 11, 12, doubles...
Take it. Be strength 5. Fuck it. Well,
yeah, of course.
I don't even care if it's the correct choice at this point anymore. Like, just
it's probably not. Like, you're investing like 270k in a player you kind of want to keep safe, but fuck it.
I mean, like, you honestly kind of want block because you still don't have block, and at this point you're not getting block until you're a legend. But like, what else do you like? Sure hands, block, dodge, and then all the stats you can get is what you want for a thrower. So it's probably correct unless you want block. But it's so it feels bad to pass out strengths for block. Anyway, this is totally irrelevant. We're looking at something else. So we have JJ Cash, and they're playing against the Skaven from Grey Wesker, another Bloody Bell.
Oh, this is gonna be a tough game for the Skaven, man.
Yep, they're gonna be not
sure hands. There's tons of Mighty Blow. Humans are really fast, so they can hunt you down really easily.
They're fairly fast. Yeah.
Some diving tackle, lots of blodge, lots of tackle.
Yeah, there's two diving tackle, there's 2 tackle, there's a lot of blodge step, there's dirty player, there's 2 mighty plow, 3 if you include the ogre. 1940 and the Skaven are going to get quite the inducements though.
I mean, yeah, they get an insane amount. They can get big. They're gonna get like 700k. Nearly
650.
Yeah.
They get 600. Like, so they can, and it turns out Skaven star players are actually really good when you can get like a whole bunch of extra gutter runners, basically. In hack flam and skitter.
Hack flam, yeah.
Extra arms, dodge, prehensile tail, 2 heads, and then skitters, another gutter runner with dodge, prehensile tail, shadowing, and stab. There's going to be a lot of inducements available for the Skaven, and they're going to be able to get a bench to sort of counter that mighty blow because of all the inducement money they get. They also have like wizard potential, and with gutter runners, that's always a thing you can take advantage of, especially if you get something like what's his face, the star player who is good. Why can't I think? Not Skitter.
What do you think? We're already at 10:30, so let's probably wrap this up.
The other one. The one I just talked about. I'm tired.
Well, now you're ignoring me.
Oh. Akflem. He's Agi 4 and extra arms. What do you think then?
I was kind of gonna withhold to see until after what you said. You know what I mean.
Let's go with humans. I think it's not as, it's sort of traditionally a difficult match for Skaven, but I think all the inducements are going to make a big enough difference that it is not as crazy one-sided as you'd think. But I still think humans are going to take it, but I don't think it's impossible for the Skaven by any stretch. I think they could easily do it.
Agreed.
So then we have Common Nightmares and Starry Fight. So we have Harry Koo's Necro. So this is the Claw Mighty Blowless. There's no Mighty Blow werewolf. And they're missing their Sure Hands ball carrier for this match. Or like the Sure Hands isn't relevant, but like the blodge sidestep certainly is. So basically we're looking at sort of 3 guard Necro missing a ghoul versus Rumblebee and his dwarfs. So dwarfs versus Necro with no claw, where the dwarves outguard you. My first inclination is dwarves, but it is Rumblebee, so don't forget to take that into account.
Yeah, I mean, he's let me down before.
I believe in you, Rumblebee. I predict Rumblebee.
I don't.
This is basically the opposite of what happened last week. So we have Wood United and Snake Kitties. So we've got the Wood Elves that did a little bit of styling last week from Luke 444, and we have the Snake Kitties, Teddy Roses, Lizards.
Traditionally a tough match for Lizards.
True.
Especially Lizards with 0 tackle.
Yeah, no tackle. Saurus not having much in the way of block. I mean, they have half, but it's not all the way there yet.
No Sure Hands, and the War Dancer has strip.
That sounds like a Wood Elf victory to me.
It does to me too.
Yeah, I mean, not impossible. No games are impossible, certainly, but this is pretty heavily Wood Elf favored, I think, with the sort of strip ball War Dancer, the craziness of elves, and the sort of lack of ability to defend against it as the lizards. Although the lizards do get a decent amount of inducements, but Slibley doesn't help that much against Wood Elves. He helps some, certainly, because it's another guard, which you can make the cage dives harder. But even then, turns out skinks aren't the greatest ball carriers to defend against War Dancers with.
Yep, and then we have Orcsploitation Cinema versus the Wayside Wondermongers. So this is humans again, Philosophical versus Das Schuttenheim.
And the Orcs.
Yep, so these are the pretty developed Orcs. lots of guard, crazy strong blitzer, crazy agile thrower, even a dirty player for good measure. Really, really strong orc team versus the human team that is all in this throw.
Griff Ball.
Going to be a tough game for the humans.
Griff Ball.
Is it Griff Ball? Oh, probably, yeah, because he's got a ton of cash. You could get Griff. Who needs Griff, though, when you have through Tossley?
You could have a... I mean, he is Griff, I guess, except he doesn't have block. He doesn't have block, Surefeet, or Fend, or whatever.
Is Griff movement 7? Oh, yeah, he's moving 8. Maybe.
He's 7-4-4-8.
Oh, okay.
Griff is... He's 7-4-4-8 with block, dodge, Fend, sprint, Surefeet. So, like, he's Griff is better. I mean, you could buy Griff and then pick up with Thrower and just throw it to Griff and have, like, 2 players run your entire team.
Yeah. Gonna be tough for the humans, though. Orcs can keep up and definitely can outpunch and pin the humans down with a lot of guard.
Yeah, and Leorc Neeson
Jesse Run Thuria is really strong because he's gonna keep the humans off of the sidelines or risk being surfed.
And Leorc Neeson always has a good shot at getting the ball off anybody who isn't that thrower. Like, sure, he's a strength 4 thrower, but he's just Leorc Neeson's strength 5.
Well, I mean, through Tossley could be strength 5.
That's true.
Could force it to be a 1 die.
Strength 5 ball carrier versus strength 5 strip ball player.
You will win. You decide. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Orcs here.
Yeah, me too, I think. Mostly because they're gonna get a couple removals, and then the humans are down players because there's no bench. You can mitigate with that with some star players like, you know, Zug or Griff or whatever, but I feel like with this big of a TV disparity, the Orcs have a bit of an advantage. And then Hausdorff's Homewreckers versus Scaled Measures. Oof.
So, super killing Chorfs versus...
Crazy strength 5 lizards?
Yeah, it's gonna be the Chorfs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if they don't get the removals, the strength 5 is going to be a real challenge for them, but this is a lizard team that's got a bunch of minus AV. It's got 2 niggles on key players that are going to be taking punches. This is going to be real sad. They're going to pop.
Yeah, it's a 9 guard, like, Chorf team with 2 Claw Mighty Blow piling on. Like, the lizards are going to crumple, I think.
Yeah.
It's like it's a really good lizard team, but this is the Chorf team that is designed to beat lizard teams. Like, they've got 2 crazy Saurus removal pieces, and their entire team, other than the Bull Centaurs on the pitch, will be guard, and the Bull Centaurs are strength 4. So, like, it's just really difficult for the lizards to deal with.
For sure.
So I think that is going to be Chorfs for me as well. And with that, I will bring up the dual title screen, because that is going to be week 4 for us in a nutshell. Next week will be team review things, so we won't be watching matches next week. But if you want to give us a poke when your matches are scheduled, perhaps I can cast them. It depends on when they are available or when you're playing them, etc. But I'll certainly try to make it my priority to live stream Div 6 and Div 7 games if my schedule allows for it. So feel free to let us know when those are, and I will try to make it happen. We will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, taking a look at week 5. Thanks for hanging out with us. Glad you enjoyed it. And until then, I've been Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.
And we will see you next time.